What is up, hooligans? And happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you're over on Rumble, please hit that like button. More likes equals more hooligans. Going to read through a schedule really quick, and then we will be checking on all the chats. So let me know how you hooligans are doing today. Then, of course, we'll be getting things started. I do got this live pulled up, waiting to see if President Trump's going to be signing executive orders or not. There's all kinds of notifications coming out saying he's going to do it, but we're just sitting here on this waiting screen, so we'll see how it goes. Either way, other than this live, we'll be starting off with a video titled Trump Considers Baby Bonus to Boost Birth Rates, talking about giving out 5,000 doll hairs. It's not very clear, but it's said like giving it to women who are going to potentially be mothers. I don't know exactly what the stipulations are for that. Not everybody thinks that's a good idea. Then we got a follow-up video. It's titled EPA Chief Lee Zeldin demands that Mexico stops sewage from Tijuana. It's a follow-up video because we covered a week or two ago that we are getting sewage from Mexico that's leaking upriver to California, I guess. We'll see if anyone actually does anything about it. Where's all the climate change people at? Then we got a video titled Early Texas Hospital Data Shows Millions Spent in Care for Non-U.S. Citizens. That's a soft way of saying illegals. Texas and, well, the whole country was just wasting money giving health care to illegals, which is wrong. Then we got an interesting video titled Magic Mushrooms Shouldn't Be Used Without Supervision, says doctors. Now, they're worried about psilocybin, but they're talking about Americans are using more magic mushrooms than ever before. I think that's pretty interesting. Then we got a video titled New Pro-Palestinian, which is the same thing as saying pro-Hamas, encampment has begun by activists on Yale's campus. So over at Yale, you can go and hang out with the pro-Hamas protesters. I wonder how ICE feels about that. It's only a matter of time before they crack down on those idiots. Then we got a video from earlier today titled Caroline Levit speaks to reporters about China, trade deals, Ukraine, and more. It's the closest thing we're going to have to a press briefing today. Then we got a video titled GOP states look to ban undocumented drivers from obtaining licenses. Apparently there was 19 states that were giving driver's licenses to illegals, and some of these states only require as much as a vision test, which is crazy. I've never even had a vision test to get my license. In some states, that's all it takes. So we have 19 states to blame for illegals driving. Then we got a video titled Tom Homan on deported MS-13 man. Oh, here we go.
Who are amazing. I've actually visited many of them in the hospital, and they came out better than me. They came out looking good. If I had that look, I would have been president 20 years ago. I wouldn't have had to wait so long. You look great, fellas. But many of them, I didn't even realize it at the time, but I visited many of you in the hospital. They did an incredible job. The doctors are absolutely unbelievable, the job they do. So we were having a little meeting, and at the same time, we're signing some very important legislation, what will become legislation. And right now, it's an executive order, and having to do mostly with education. And we have our Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, who's been so incredible over the last few weeks. I've been watching her on television. I'd like to tell her she could do better, but she can't. She can't do any better. So I want to thank you, Linda. Fantastic. And we also have Commerce, and we have Labor with us today. And you have been, thank you very much. And
thank you, Mr.
Howard, thank you very much. And we'll take some questions after we're finished. Maybe I'll ask Will to step forward, and you can go through some of these. Also, Lindsay, you'll work with Will, two very talented lawyers, as you all know by now.
Thank you, Mr. President.
And we'll go through them. And Linda, why don't you come over here? In fact, why don't the three of you come over here?
We also have a special guest with us today.
Oh, that's right. Annette Albright. Where is Annette? Annette Albright. Charlotte Mecklenburg, school teacher. Very special one. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. You get all sorts of awards for talent. That's good. Thank you very much for being with us. Appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, please.
Sir, the first executive order we have prepared for your attention. There are currently laws on the books requiring certain disclosures of universities when they accept large foreign gifts. We believe that certain universities, including, for example, Harvard, have routinely violated this law, and this law has not been effectively enforced. So this executive order charges your departments and agencies with enforcing the laws on the books with respect to foreign gifts to American universities.
Okay, thank you.
Enforcing the laws on.
We'll put it right here.
Next for you, sir, university accreditation is currently a process controlled by a number of third-party organizations. That's by statute, by law. Many of those third-party accreditors have relied on sort of woke ideology to accredit universities instead of accrediting based on merit and performance. This executive order affects a number of changes to the university accreditation process, also applies to law schools and other sort of graduate programs. But the basic idea is to force accreditation to be focused on the merit and the actual results that these universities are providing, as opposed to how woke these universities have gotten. So we're setting up new accreditation pathways. We're charging the Department of Education to really look holistically at this accreditation mess and hopefully make it much better.
Will we look into the past people that they've taken? For instance, I hear all about certain great schools, and then we read where they're going to teach people basic math that we can all do very easily, but they can't do. They're going to the top school, and they come out with a program of teaching basic math to somebody that got into a Harvard or a Princeton or a Yale. Is that part of this?
When universities are not performing appropriately, whether that's in admissions or whether that's in their actual instructional activities, that's certainly something that accreditors should be considering, that right now we believe they're not doing a good enough job of, and I think Secretary McMahon could probably speak to that
What
better
about
than I
that,
could.
Linda? So they're allowing people into school that can't do math, and yet kids who've worked really hard and number one in their class in a high school someplace in New Jersey or in Mississippi, they can't get into the best schools. What is that all about?
Yeah, and I think that gets to your policy, sir, of meritocracy, that we should be looking at those who have real merit to get in, and we have to look harder at those universities that aren't enforcing that.
Okay, thank you. And this pretty much does it, right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Sir, during your first administration, you made promoting historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, a major priority. This executive order takes existing law on HBCUs and brings it into effect. We're going to be setting up a White House initiative on HBCUs. The basic idea here is making sure that every aspect of your administration is working to ensure that HBCUs are able to do their job as effectively and as efficiently as possible. This next executive order relates to artificial intelligence education, sir. You've obviously done a lot in the artificial intelligence space already. The basic idea of this executive order is to ensure that we properly train the workforce of the future by ensuring that school children, young Americans are adequately trained in AI tools so that they can be competitive in the economy years from now into the future as AI becomes a bigger and bigger deal.
That's a big deal because AI is where it seems to be at. We have literally trillions of dollars being invested in AI. And somebody today, a very smart person, said that AI is the way to the future. I don't know if that's right or not, but certainly very smart people are investing in it heavily. Good. Okay.
Next year, we have an executive order on workforce development. This executive order is going to charge numerous departments and agencies within the government to reshape the way that we do workforce development. One example from the executive order, for instance, we're looking to get the total number of apprenticeships, new apprenticeships, up to 1 million in the country to ensure that in critical jobs areas, in areas where we currently don't have enough trained workers, that we're recreating that pipeline to ensure that, particularly as we onshore industrial jobs and new industries, that those industries have the workforce they need to be competitive globally.
Okay. Very important.
And this is the EO that we're all here working together.
And in a way, this is like a training center, right, for what we're trying to do, which is jobs and great salaries. These are great salaries, too.
Right, it's exactly. So all those factories that you're bringing in because of your trade policy, we're going to train people in trade craft, bring back trade craft to America so that people can work in these factories with great paying jobs, and we're going to train them, and we're going to remake the American dream for all these people. We're working together.
That's right.
Right, Lori?
Absolutely. This plays right into America at Work Tour, which I have kicked off. We will work with our state partners and work with our businesses to see exactly who they need in that workforce, and we will skill and upskill these apprentices so they can get right to work and get in the field and build back this economy for exactly living the American dream. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
Next, sir, we have an executive order on school discipline policies. Under, I believe it was the Biden administration, first Obama and then Biden, the Department of Justice issued guidance that made it almost impossible for schools to enforce adequate disciplinary policies. This created issues in the classroom for teachers and students alike. Basically, they focused on CRT and sort of diversity ideology instead of actually just enforcing the rules in classrooms to ensure a safe learning environment. This executive order revokes that prior guidance and puts us back in a place where hopefully the Department of Education can focus on education and teachers can focus on teaching in a safe environment.
And this was important for you, Linda, as I understand it.
Yeah, absolutely, because it gives teachers the authority now to have discipline in their classroom and discipline the person who is being disruptive. We took that away.
Okay. Nice.
Cool.
You, Linda, you should hold that.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order on disparate impact theory. This is a theory that underlies a lot of the modern DEI and CRT-driven diversity culture. The basic idea here is instructing your departments and agencies to no longer rely on disparate impact theory as they're regulating, as they're issuing guidance, as they're making rules. We want to focus on results. We want to focus on actual fairness. We want to focus on merit, not things like disparate impact theory and the whole sort of diversity, equity, and inclusion cult.
It's getting out of that, huh?
Yes, sir.
After being in that jungle for a long time. Okay. Thank you. Very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
Very much. Would you like to introduce again Annette, and perhaps Annette wants to say something? What do you do with that? Annette is right here.
Yes, Annette. Yes, please come over. Would you like to have some comments to make? I know you're a former Charlotte Mecklenburg school teacher. I'm a North Carolina girl, so
Yes,
it's nice to
Newbern.
see you. Yes, from
Yes.
Newbern.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here. This has been an 8-year journey for me to raise awareness to the violence that's in public schools and the critical need to address violence in public schools. Again, been doing it 8 years because most administrations like to keep the violence hidden. We have 3 students that should be here with us today. We have Austin McCalf, I'm sorry if I say his name wrong, Serenity Baker, and Nazir Taylor from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was shot in the back as he was getting off of a school bus because they thought he was a part of a big brawl that happened inside a public high school. So this is very important and critical legislation that we have to keep our educators safe, we have to keep our students safe, and public schools have to be safe environments. So I think, like I said, I've done this journey alone. I've been on it, but I have a whole team behind me now. I spoke at the RNC, and I told millions that Donald Trump and his administration was going to make schools great again, and I feel that we're on the right path, and I'm just honored to be here.
Thank you. We're giving this to our great vets that are with us, and is it okay if I give her one? What do you think?
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. What an honor.
Great job. Could I ask Sarah to speak, Gerardo?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about these great gentlemen.
These heroes, Mr. President, are extraordinary. This is my husband, Michael, and so many of our dear, dear friends who are here today. Many of them have met you, sir, in your first administration in the hospital, many times at Walter Reed.
Right.
And they've had long recoveries. Tomorrow, for my husband, marks 15 years since he was wounded in Afghanistan.
Wow.
And on that day, about 6 years ago, he had his 120th surgery post-Afghanistan.
wow.
And you came to see him at Walter Reed and so many others. And we saw great reform in the VA. Access, same-day access to prosthetics, mental health care, and we know that that is back. We're going to, these gentlemen were saying, Alex here earlier was saying, in the last few years when he's gone to get a wheelchair, the VA has asked him, this gentleman, they've asked him to prove that he still has his injuries, as though maybe his limbs would grow back. And they unfortunately did not. Yes, and we've seen that many times. And so we're excited for you bringing back the VA Accountability, Mission Act, Community Care, that were the hallmark of your first term. And we're so excited, sir, to be here. We're honored to be here. And thank you for all you do for our nation's heroes.
Thank you. Who's that picture on there?
That is Joe Biden, and it says, "Let's go, Brandon."
I'm saying, what was that picture? That's great.
I told him he wasn't allowed to ask you to sign it.
That's very good. Well, thank you all very much. Would you like to say anything, fellas? There's a big chance you have a lot of good people watching that believe in you. They happen to be the media, but they believe very much in you, like I do. Anybody?
Mr. President, we're very happy with the energy that this administration is bringing, and it's an administration that does what it promises, and so we're behind you. We believe in you, and I think we all love you. We got to speak for everybody.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to get you a better hat. Say a better hat. That's a good one. That was the original.
It was.
That means he was there.
I've been wearing it before it was cool.
That's right. That's an early one. We'll save that one though, right?
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anybody, please?
I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say thank you for loving America, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's very nice. Thank you very much. True. Thank you.
Sir Bennett just spoke, saved Michael Broder's life. And of course, he goes immediately to say thank you, as he was the one that saved Michael Broder, put him in the helicopter, and got him off the combat zone.
Wow.
So,
Right
the selflessness
there,
of these men is unspeakable.
Thank you.
That's great. See ya.
Yeah, he's alive because of Batman right here.
Well, these are amazing people, great heroes. So that's really great. Anybody else? Yes.
I'd like to say it was an honor to serve. You are worth it. This country's worth it. It's because of what Christ paid for.
Thank you. And we have a spirit that people haven't seen in many years, at least 5. They haven't seen. I think even then, because we've been through so much for the last 4 years together, it was so bad. It was so bad what they've done to the borders, what they've done all over the place, and it's really an honor to be with you, all of you. Incredible. And I'm going to give you these coins, and I think you're going to really like them. I think they're the best. These are the best coins. And you have your choice. This is gunmetal. I don't know, soldiers like the black, but I think you like this one. It's okay. A lot of soldiers like the black. Here you go. What do you like?
I'll go the black.
Huh? See? I told you. These are choices.
I'll take a black one, sir.
Okay, look at this. Oh, that rarely happens. You're different, huh?
Take a black one, sir.
Oh,
There you go.
that's great.
Call the military.
No, but isn't it? I always say the soldiers, they do like it. It's gunmetal. What do we like here?
That's what I heard that was going to
Gold is
I'm giving him 2.
We have 3 girls.
One
We're
for
going to
this
fight.
one right here. We'll get another one here. Okay. This is actually fun.
I'll take the gold, Mr. President.
Okay. I thought you were going to take that goal. Okay.
Gold one, sir.
Okay. You got it.
I had an opportunity to sail across the Gulf of America 2 days after you named it right.
Oh, wow. It's been an honor. And now people say it routinely.
Yep.
They don't even think about the other. They say it routinely.
No,
That's
it's
been a
ours.
great honor for me. Okay.
Take a gold one, sir.
Okay. Almost even. I think gold is an edge.
I would love a gold one, sir.
Gold.
Thank you so much.
I think the gold it picked up at the end, right? Well, okay. That's good. So I want to thank you very much, and especially that's a great story. Yeah? So what do you think of a guy like that? Pretty good.
They actually, we all served together.
Wow.
And Jared over there.
And Jared over there.
So you guys,
I forgot.
so you guys got hit, huh? Pretty good. You got hit.
Pretty good.
Amazing.
We're in a
Amazing.
pretty tough area in Kandahar, in the Arghandab River Valley,
Right, it's
outside
tough.
Kandahar.
Their unit had a more than 50% Purple Heart rate, sir,
Wow.
in 2010.
You deserve it. You deserve that and more. We appreciate it so much. Brave, really brave, brilliant people. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions of
Mr.
the
President, first of all,
of the guys here?
I want to say
President.
thank you to the veterans who are here.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for defending us. And then I wanted to ask you, Mr. President, because you said you want to bring the tariffs on China down soon. How soon do you want to bring the tariffs on Chinese goods
Well,
down?
that depends on them. We have a situation where we have a very, very great place. It's called the United States of America, and it's been ripped off for years and years. These people know it. We talked about it before you came in. We've been ripped off by every country in the world practically, and friend and foe. And we're not doing that anymore. So what's happened is Howard, how many countries have we spoken to already? 90. And they all want to make deals, and we're going to make deals, but they're going to be fair deals. They're not going to be rip-off deals. And, we were losing almost $5 billion a year. No country can do that. And now we have it down almost to even, maybe even better than even, because of the tariffs on cars and aluminum and steel. We have tariffs 25% on cars, aluminum, and steel. There's a rush to build new steel plants, a rush to build new aluminum plants, and a biggest rush I've ever seen, that we've ever seen, to build car plants. We have like 11 of them or something, big ones, where you guys maybe work, maybe you won't want to work, you'll do something else instead of that. But if you like cars, you'd like to work at one of these plants, the biggest plants in the world. 3 of them have left Mexico before construction started, 1 of them during construction. And they're coming to this country. They're coming back. Don't forget, and we get along great with Mexico, but Mexico took 32% of our car building business. So it's amazing what's happened. Remember this number, anywhere from $3 to $5 billion a day. That's not $1 million, that's $1 billion a day. Nobody can even imagine it. And that's what we were losing. And, hence we have $36 trillion in debt and everything else. And in the end, I think what's going to happen is we're going to have great deals. And by the way, if we don't have a deal with a company or a country, we're going to set the tariff. We just set the tariff. It's something that we think that will happen, I'd say, over the next couple of weeks. What do you say? I think so. Over the next 2-3 weeks. We'll be setting the number.
For
and
China.
We're going to pick, could be for China too, could be for China. Well, we're dealing with almost all of them. Too many to fully deal with, but we're going to be fair to them. But we're dealing with a lot of countries right now, and could be with China, but maybe we'll make a special, a deal, and we'll see what it will be. Right now, it's 145%. That's very high. It got there because of the fentanyl. They're sending, massive amounts of fentanyl into our country and killing a lot of people. Probably 200,000 plus a year, wiping them out. You probably all have friends that were killed. Somebody was killed in your family or your friends with fentanyl, and somehow it's made almost exclusively in China. And as you know, we essentially taxed them 10 and then another 10. We also taxed Mexico 25, and we taxed Canada 25. And that's the kind of money that's what's pouring into our country right now. and it's gotten us down from losing $3 to $5 billion a day to actually making money, but breaking even, let's say, but we're going to make a lot of money. And that money is going to be used to reduce taxes. We're going to get big tax breaks. We're going to, there was a time, I said it this morning, I think some of you were there, there was a time from 1870 to 1913, it was a long time ago, we were an all-tariff nation. Foreign nations paid taxes. They paid money to us in the form of tariffs. And that was when we were the wealthiest. We were the wealthiest proportionately that we ever were. And they formed committees in 1887 in particular, but they formed committees to determine what we should do with all the money. We had so much money, you guys would have loved it. We had so much money, they didn't know what to do with it. We gave it away to different causes, and you haven't seen that too much anymore, although we give plenty away, but now we shouldn't be giving it away. We have to take care of ourselves first, right?
Absolutely.
But we were very wealthy, and proportionately the wealthiest we ever were. We built the Panama Canal. Jimmy Carter gave that away for $1, by the way. One of the most profitable things ever built, the Panama Canal. We gave it away for $1 to Panama. Why? I don't know. Nobody knows, but that's what we had. We had people like that sitting behind this desk, and that shouldn't have happened. Panama Canal, it was the most expensive thing ever built by our country in history. I'm talking in relative dollars. We've never built anything so expensive. I think it was the equivalent of $1.7 billion. And we've never built anything like that. We built a lot of things, but never so expensive. Then we started building other things. We had a lot of money to do it, all based on foreign countries coming in and paying us tariffs. And we're doing that again, and I think we're going to make so much that we're going to be able to reduce taxes in this country by a lot. And we're also going to treat those countries very fairly. But if we don't make a deal, which is possible, we're going to just set the price. Because you remember, they have to come in, they want to come in here, and they want to do business with the United States. So we want to set a fair price, and we'll do that. We're going to be very fair, but we'll set a fair price, and then they can make a determination as to whether or not they want to do business with the United States. And I think most of them will, and I think we're going to treat them very fairly.
Were you worried about what the 145% tariffs were doing to small businesses here in the U.S.? Is that why you're bringing it down?
No, I haven't brought it down. I haven't brought it. Still 145. I haven't brought it down. I said it's a high tariff. It is a high tariff, but I haven't brought it down. It basically means China's not doing any business with us, essentially, because it's a very high number. So when you add that to the price of a product, it's, a lot of those products aren't going to sell. But China's not doing any business. They were doing $1.1 trillion. Think of that. $1.1 trillion. You know what that is? And it was just very unfair to us. And we were doing very little, relatively very little with them. It was a one-sided, very one-sided. But we get along. I get along very well with President Xi, and I hope we can make a deal. Otherwise, we'll set a price, and hopefully they'll come here and they'll contribute. And if they don't, that's okay.
So on your trip to Rome, there's a lot of leaders attending the Pope's funeral who also said they'd like to meet with you while you're there. Do you have any meetings set up?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of meetings set up. I don't know if I can do it. Do you want to help me out, fellas? I got a lot of meetings. I got every leader in the world, which tells you that we have a good product. It's called the United States of America, and it's great. And these people know about it better than anybody in this room. But we have a great place, and it should be a lot greater. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to make it greater than ever before. It's very simple.
Who are you going to be meeting with, President Zelensky?
Well, I have a lot of meetings set up. Yeah.
And are you bringing anyone with you in the U.S. delegation to the funeral, like Secretary Rubio or a former president?
We have a couple of people coming. We'll announce it probably this evening or tomorrow. First Lady's going, and some people are coming with me from staff. But we'll have a number of people going. I'm sure it's going to be a beautiful ceremony.
So I had one on Ukraine, but I wanted to ask you one about veterans as they are here today, and thank you for your service and sacrifice. I wanted to ask you about the cuts that have been made, including with the VA. Can you assure that veterans like these men here, those that have been suffering from mental health issues or burn pits, for example, will be taken care of even with the cuts?
So. In fact, they will tell you it's been better with me than any president in history. We had a 92% approval rating, which is unheard of, up 50 points from the previous administration in my first 4 years, and we're doing better now. And in fact, now they have something, the call-in doctor stuff, where it's really become, modernized and great, where you don't have to go and travel sometimes long distances to get to a clinic or get to the VA. And I just heard this morning, I was listening to Doug Collins, who's the secretary, who was being interviewed, and the numbers are incredible. The approval ratings are the highest I've never heard numbers like this. It's better than the first 4 years. So no, there's no group of people more important than the people in this room. And I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about these people right here. There's no group, and they're going to be taken really well care of. It's very important to me.
And on the war in Ukraine, are you going to be meeting with President Zelensky? He's asked to meet with you this weekend. Will you be meeting with him this weekend?
I don't know that he's going to the funeral or not, but I just hope he gets this thing solved, because we're losing about, think of this, 5,000. I was saying 2,500, and everyone was telling me that's low. 5,000 soldiers are being killed every week, approximately. Think of that. Every week, 5,000 soldiers. But let's say from 3,000 to 5,000 are being killed. They're Russian and Ukrainian. They're not Americans, but they're Russian, but they're people. And they're humans. They're human beings. They have families. They wave goodbye to their son, and then they get a call that the son's no longer there. It's a vicious war. And if I can help solve it, we're not losing our soldiers, but we're losing soldiers, a lot of people. And if I can solve it because of a certain ability, that would be great. And if it doesn't happen, I will say that I think Russia is ready. And a lot of people said Russia wanted to go for the whole thing. And I think we have a deal with Russia. We have to get a deal with Zelensky. And I hope that Zelensky, I thought it might be easier to deal with Zelensky. So far it's been harder. But that's okay. It's all right.
Have you had
But I think we have a deal with both. I hope they do it, because I'm looking to save. And we spend a lot of money, but this is about a lot of humanity. This is the worst. I get the pictures, the satellite pictures. I've never seen anything like it of the fields after some of these battles. It's horrible that it's going for nothing. We would have never had this problem. You would have never had that war if I were president. I guarantee you that. And for 4 years, you didn't have it.
Are you going to meet with Vladimir Putin?
Please.
Are you going to meet with Vladimir Putin?
I will be meeting with
in Saudi Arabia.
It's possible, but most likely not. I think we'll meet with him shortly thereafter.
What is this wake up going to present to the
Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, during the Biden administration in the campaign, with inflation raging, he lowered interest rates 2 times. Now, with 2 consecutive months of inflation being down, all economic theory you learn in the 8th grade says it's time to cut rates when inflation is down. He's not done that. Have you had any direct conversation with him?
No, I haven't called him. I might call him. I haven't called him, but I believe he's making a mistake by not lowering interest rates. And I think as well as we're doing, we'd do much better. He's keeping rates too high. He historically has been late, except when it came to Biden. He was recommended by a certain person that I'm not particularly happy with, but he will hopefully do the right thing. The right thing is to lower interest rates, so we'll see what happens. I think we're sitting on something that's going to be very good. With all the tariff money starting to come in, our country's going to be doing really well, and hopefully he'll be doing. We don't have inflation. Groceries are down. When I first came in, people were there. They hit me with the first day that I was president. Somebody started screaming at me that eggs are up. I said, I just got here. And in the first week, they were going crazy. You remember that, Linda? Yes. They were going crazy. They're saying egg prices are too. I said, I'm here for 1 week. Just leave me alone. This is the fake news. And I said, what can I tell you? But Brooke Rollins, our Secretary of Agriculture, and a group working with her have done an amazing job. And egg prices have gone down 87%. Energy now is down $65 a barrel. They have some energy selling gasoline for less than $2 in a couple of states. Alabama, a couple of great states, but all over the country, it's way down from what it was 6 months ago, 3 months ago. And that has a lot to do with the war. When when Biden allowed energy to skyrocket, it just skyrocketed. It was out of control. Russia made a lot more money because they make their money on energy. And I kept saying, he supposedly wants to end the war, but he lets energy go out of control. Well, I've gotten it. We are drilling like crazy right now, and we have it down to $65 a barrel. It went up to almost $100 a barrel. And at that number, Putin and Russia made a lot of money. So I think one of the reasons, I think he has a certain respect for me. But one of the big reasons is oil prices are down. I think this is a good time to get the war settled. Thank you.
Just one more question.
Thank you for that question.
For those of us that live here in the district, you said when you came in you were going to make Washington, D.C. great again.
Right.
One of the issues we've got right now is we understand there might be an imminent deal between the owner of the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them now, Commanders, and locally in getting the Redskins back to D.C. and RFK Stadium. That's on federal property.
Right.
Are you going to be involved in that negotiation?
Yeah.
And would one of the stipulations be they change their name back to the Redskins?
Oh, I see. Well, that's a little bit. Nobody's asked me that one. Look, I think when the Indian population is a great part of this country, great heritage. And we were talking about Massapequa, Long Island, the Chiefs, they call themselves the Chiefs. Or the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not changing their name. A great team, great people, great owners, great coach and quarterback. I love the quarterback, like his girlfriend too, and his wife. His wife is great. She's been a big fan. His quarterback's mother is incredible. I like that team. They're called the Chiefs. And frankly, I see nothing wrong with it. They call them the Warriors, and not that team, but a lot of other teams, and all of these Indian surnames and different names. And I'm saying that I think that's a positive thing. And when you go back to Indians, they poll this. They don't know why these names are being taken off. They're trying to. I think it's degrading to the Indian population, and it's a great population, and they like when they're called by various names. Now, Washington. The Redskins, perhaps that's a little bit different, but I can tell you that I spoke to people of Indian heritage that love that name and they love that team, and I think it's I think it's a superior name to what they have right now, and it had heritage behind it, it had something special. But a lot of the names having to do with, different places, not just Indians, but I think they changed the name of the Cleveland Indians. Why would you take the name Indians off the Cleveland Indians? And now it's called the Cleveland something else.
Guardians.
Right? Guardians. It just doesn't make sense to me. So we're about bringing common sense back to this country. And it may be popular or unpopular what I'm saying, and I've just said to you, he's a nice guy. He got a lot out of me on this one, but I think most people agree with me. I think it really is demeaning to Indians. But to change the name of the Cleveland Indians, as an example, to the Cleveland Guardians, is not the same, and I'm sure it has an impact on the team.
Thank you, sir. Elon Musk said he'll be stepping back from his work with Doge a little bit and only be dedicating maybe a day or two a week to it. How long would you like to see that continue, and how involved would you like to see him continue to be after?
Well, first of all, I can't speak more highly about any individual. He's an incredible guy. He's a brilliant guy. He's a wonderful person. I've seen him with his family. I've seen him with a lot of his children. He's got a lot of children. He treats them good. He loves his children. But he's a brilliant guy, and he was a tremendous help, both in the campaign and in what he's done with Doge. And we're talking about almost $200 billion and rising fast, because many of the things that we were looking at are now being found out to be fact. It's terrible. I mean, the fraud, the waste, the abuse, the everything that's happened is just terrible. So I also know that he was treated very unfairly by I guess you'd call it the public, by some of the public, not by all of it. I say he makes an incredible car, everything he does is good. But they took it out on Tesla. And I just thought it was so unfair, because he's trying to help the country. But he has helped the country. I also want him to make sure that he's going to be in great shape, and I know he is. I mean, he's going to do great. He loves the country. He didn't need to do this. He did it. And I told him, I said, whenever you're ready, I'd like to keep him for a long time, but whenever you're ready, he's an exceptional guy. When you see those rockets go up and come back and land in the same gantry, nobody else can do that but this man. So he's just an incredible person, and he's a friend of mine, and he's a nice person too. He's a very nice person. He really helped the country, saved us a lot of money. And I heard him say that he'll start easing, he was always at this time going to ease out. And when he goes back to Tesla, that'll be taken care of. It's artificial. These were sick people that thought they were doing something. He's a great patriot, and it shouldn't be the way, that should never have happened to him. And I will tell you right now, he makes a great product. It's a great car. It's great everything. Starlink is great. What he does is good. He's doing medical things that are amazing. And we have to, at some point, let him go and do that. And we expect him to be doing it about this time. But I'll talk to Elon about it. Thank you for the question.
A second question. Canada has an election coming up. Do you have a prediction for that, and what do you think the results
With respect to Canada?
With the negotiations?
Oh, I don't want to predict other nations' elections. It's tough enough doing this one. Look, I love the Canadian people. I like Canada, but it's costing us $200 billion a year to support Canada. $200 billion. And I say, why are we doing that? You know what? We can make our own cars. We have more energy than they do. We have more energy than anybody in the world. We don't need their lumber, obviously. We have more lumber. We have a lot of lumber. We have a lot of everything that they sell us. But in particular cars, they took a large percentage of the car making, and I want to bring it back to this country. I really don't want cars from Canada. So when I put tariffs on Canada, they're paying 25%, but that could go up in terms of cars. When we put tariffs on, all we're doing is we're saying we don't want your cars in all due respect. We want really to make our own cars, which is what we're doing in record numbers now. You know, we're going to be at record levels in a very near future because of all the plants, the car plants that are being built. And I'd rather see them made in Michigan and made in South Carolina and made in different states, Tennessee. We have a lot of great car-making states, and we have some that aren't car-making yet, but they will soon be car-making states. And that's what I want to see for our country. At the same time, I want to help Canada. I have spoken to the current Prime Minister. He was very, very nice, I will say. Very nice. We had a couple of very nice conversations, very good. But I don't think it's appropriate for me to get involved in their election.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, if I may, this deal that you have with Russia, does it include recognizing Russia's sovereignty over Crimea?
Well, everything is good. Look, I just want to see the war end. I don't care. If they're both happy, they both sign an agreement. I have no favorites. I don't want to have any favorites. I want to have a deal done. I want to save their lives. Now, with that being said, we're spending hundreds of billions of dollars through Biden. Biden should have never let that war happen. We're spending hundreds of billions, maybe $350 billion we've given to Ukraine. And we could use that money right here. So I'd like to see that. But most importantly right now is when I see the pictures, the satellite pictures of the battlefield, if I can stop that because of an ability I have to do things, I want to see if I can do that.
Mr. President, on tariffs, you just mentioned that 25% could go up on cars in terms of Canada. Does that mean that you're considering changes to the auto tariffs and auto parts?
No, we're not considering it now, but at some point it could go up, yeah, because, again, we don't really want Canada to make cars for us, to put it bluntly. We want to make our own cars, and we're now equipped to do that. They took a lot of our car business. Mexico, too, took a lot of our car business. We want to make the cars here. I'm running this country. I'm not running Canada. And that's why I asked Trudeau, who I call Governor Trudeau affectionately, but I asked him, why are we spending $200 billion to support Canada, to subsidize Canada? And he was unable to answer the question. I mean, why are we doing that? And I have to be honest, as a state, it works great. As a nation, considering the fact that most of the nation, 95% of Canada, what they do is they buy from us and they sell to us. They sell to us. If we didn't buy their oil, and we don't need their oil. We have more oil than anyone, but we don't need their oil. We don't need their lumber. We don't need their cars. We don't need anything. So I said, why are we doing this? Why are we spending $200 billion? It doesn't make sense. If we needed something, that would be a different subject. So I'm working well with Canada. We're doing very well. We're working on a deal. We'll see what happens. But again, why, representing this country, why are we spending $200 billion to support and subsidize another country? Because if they didn't have us, and if we didn't spend that money, as Trudeau told me, they would cease to exist. He said that to me. They would cease to exist, which is true, certainly as a country.
And then on tourism, there's been a steep drop-off in international travel to the United States. It was down 12% last month, down even more from Western Europe. Why do you think that there are fewer people suddenly who want to travel to the United States?
Well, there could be a little, there's a little nationalism there, I guess, perhaps. It's not a big deal, but, with the dollar being where it is, because, China would always fight for having a low dollar. Japan would always fight for having a low dollar, meaning a low yen, or in the case of China, the yuan. They'd always want to have, I'd speak to President Xi a lot. I'd say it's unfair that your yuan is so low. I'd call up a great man, Prime Minister Abe, great man, Shinzo, who was unfortunately assassinated. And I used to tell you, he was a good friend of mine, I used to say, Shinzo, you can't let your yen go down. It makes it very hard for us to sell tractors. It makes it very hard to us to get tourism. And our dollar is a little bit on the low side. And that means that a lot of tourism is going to come in. But I could see a little bit of nationalism at work. And I could see it likewise with us, not wanting to go to certain countries. But that will work out very easily.
Do you think some people are scared to come here because they hear the stories of tourists who are detained for a few days or even a week or two?
No, we treat our tourists great. We're the tourism capital of the world. There's no place like this. And there may be a little bit of nationalism, but I doubt it. I actually doubt it, yeah.
Mr. President, has there been any direct contact between the U.S. and China on trade at all?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
every day.
Every day. And then secondly, would you support a millionaire tax?
I think it would be very disruptive because a lot of the millionaires would leave the country. In the old days, they left states. They go from one state to the other. Now with transportation so quick and so easy, they leave countries. You'll lose a lot of money if you do that. And other countries that have done it have lost a lot of people. They lose their wealthy people. That would be bad because the wealthy people pay the tax. Okay?
So how did the talks today go in London? Do you think that the asks from Ukraine and Europe
I think they went well. I mean, we got to get two strong people, two smart people to agree. And as soon as they agree, the killing will stop. But I think they went well, pretty well.
So Mr. President, we understand that your economic team, many of them are here today, J.D. Vance, has negotiated what's called a monster trade deal with India, like biggest one ever. Can you share with us what some of the framework of that might be?
You said England.
India.
India?
India.
Oh. They're not very complicated, these deals. It's about the tariffs. India charges almost more than any other country in the world. And believe it or not, we do very little business with India, other than the fact that I like the Prime Minister very much. He's a friend of mine. He was here 2 weeks ago, as you know. And we stood right outside, did a news conference. Unfortunately, the grass was very wet. It was very hard for people to stand on the grass. They got their shoes all ruined. But other than that, it was a very good news conference. And he's a great guy. But we do very little business. You know why? Because their tariffs are so high. They have among the highest tariffs, higher than China. They have among the highest tariffs in the world. And I understand they're going to reduce those tariffs. But it's really sort of their problem, not ours. We do very, very little purchasing in India because and selling. We do very little selling. I mean, Harley Davidson, I said, how are you doing in India? This is about about 6 years ago. They came to lunch as a great American company. They make the motorcycles, and I said, how are you doing in India, as an example? Well, we don't do any business there. Why? Because the tariffs are too high. I said, that's interesting. Well, what are you going to do? He said, well, we're going to build a plant in India, and that's what they did. I don't want that to happen. They were forced to build a plant. Well, essentially what we're doing is the same thing. Remember, there's no tariff when they build their plant here, and everybody wants to build because they don't want. And the higher the tariffs go, the more likely it is they come in and build a plant. You know, I mean, if it's 25%, that's fine. If it's 50%, you'll get more plants. 75, you get more. At 100, you get more than that. And they're all coming in at numbers that nobody's. I don't think, Howard, there's ever been numbers like we've seen.
No.
$7-8 trillion worth in 2 months. Because it took me a month to get started. In all fairness, but in 2 months we did this, and now we're coming up on 100 days, first 100 days, and I think we're going to be close to $8 trillion. There was never any president that did even a tiny percentage of that. Okay, any other questions?
Sure. What had a deal signed? One of the deals signed by your 100-day mark, and China is saying that we're threatening and blackmailing them into a deal. What would be your response?
Well, I mean, China. Look, I have great relationships in China with President Xi in particular, but China has been charging us massive tariffs for many years. That's one of the reasons they were able to steal so many of our companies. They took our companies out of America, and they built their plants in China. And one of those things, so now we're reversing it, but at levels that nobody's ever seen before. No, we're going to get along great with China, I have no doubt about it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. End it out. Thank you. Thank you. Keep going.
Okay, President Trump, we actually got him live this time. Normally, they show the executive orders as a replay. Good stuff. Either way, we're going to go ahead and get right into things. I didn't necessarily get all the way through the schedule before President Trump got on stage, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. This first video is titled, Trump Considers Baby Bonus to Boost Birth Rate. Now, I don't know. I don't know if this is one of those problems you can just throw a couple doll hairs at. Now, they are talking about $5K. It's worded kind of weird, but to mothers that are about to have babies, and I don't know if that means you got to be pregnant. I don't know if that's under the real definition of what a woman is. It's hard to say, but either way, before we get into things, I want to remind you, hooligans, we have these Trump was right about everything t-shirts. Now, this design was created by Alistair, and Alistair is a badass in just about everything he does. So I will be posting his link in all of the chats for you hooligans to have the opportunity to hire him for your creative needs, because if you think it, he can create it. Now, this design does come in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers. No stickers in this one because they're doing something weird with our stickers. So we're going to have an update on stickers soon. But we do have dog tags, and I think I made long sleeve shirts and a couple other things. But either way, today I got on the plain Jane JeffMAC t-shirts. One shirt, the t-shirt. But I will be posting all the links in the chats for you hooligans. Go check out the merch store. You should go do the thing. Either way, let's get this rolling.
Meantime, President Trump endorsing the idea of giving up to $5,000 to mothers to help increase birth rates.
Mr. President, there are reports that you're considering doing something for moms across the country, giving them some type of bonus so that they have child. Are you considering that? Or?
Sounds like a good idea to me.
Maggie Anders is the host of Undoctrination and a content creator for the Foundation for Economic Education. She joins me now. Maggie, what do you think? Is a $5,000 incentive a good idea for people to have kids?
Well, Todd, thank you so much for having me this morning. While I wholeheartedly agree with the Trump administration that America is facing a fertility epidemic, I don't think a $5,000 baby bonus is really going to cut it. You know, some estimates put the average cost of raising a child in America at $23,000. By the time that child is 18, that's $414,000, not accounting for inflation or the cost of college tuition. Americans are facing a cost of living crisis. We're tired of being taxed to death, and we're tired of our dollar being devalued through wasteful government spending programs and Federal Reserve money printing. And I think this is going to make that problem worse.
Yeah, Maggie, I agree with your top line on this. Kudos to the president for tackling this issue because it is a big deal. Look at these stats. The 2024 fertility rate, that's just last year, remains well behind the rate required to replace the current population. So something needs to be done. What would you suggest to the president to fix that problem?
Absolutely. So I think this crisis is both financial and cultural. So first, financially, I think we need to lower the tax burden on most Americans, as well as deregulate key industries that are driving up that cost of having a child. So housing would be one of them. And then as far as cultural, I think we need to look at success stories. Israel is one of the few developed countries that has an above replacement fertility rate. And they're doing something very differently. One of those things is that the entire family unit is involved in raising a child, and Israelis often see childbirth as something more important than just immediate satisfaction, right? So they want to pass down traditions, they want to extend their lineage, and I don't know if Americans are thinking long term about that. Unfortunately, politics is downstream from culture, so if we want to change that point, that's something that has to start with individuals.
Let's drill down on culture for a second. A 2024 poll reveals the main reasons people under 50 are not having kids. They just don't want to, 57%. They want to focus on other things, 44%. Concerns with the world, can't afford to, concerns about the environment. This is admittedly a very biased question here, but how do we convince people that the joys of having kids and being out late last night at my oldest first T-ball game ever outweigh those concerns that people have?
Absolutely. So I think one problem a lot of Americans have is this high time preference. We want to chase immediate satisfaction, like traveling or going out to eat at restaurants. One of the problems in America is that since 1963, when our fertility rate was at its highest, the family unit has changed so much. So both mom and dad are often going into the office and they're spending very few hours with their children, and that can be very stressful and isolating, and it's a huge burden to take on. So one thing I think a lot of people are really asking for is to have that village to come behind them and support them. And so for a lot of the viewers listening in today, if you have adult children, one thing you can do is be involved in your grandchildren's life and support them that way.
I would just also add, instead of using that money as a bonus, maybe put that money into lowering the cost of fertility, because there are people out there who desperately want children, who are having trouble. That money could help them and would really alleviate this problem as well. Maggie Anders, thank you for your insight. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Ju. Okay, 5K to having a baby. I wonder how they would dictate all of that. You got to be pregnant, or you thinking about getting pregnant, you file an application. I don't know. And 5K is not a lot. It's not a lot when it comes to raising a kid. And like they're talking about having to pay for, taking care of the child, and how it's so isolating to be at work and all of that, and both parents have to work. Well, that and the divorce rate is terrible. Most parents don't stay together. I've only seen my parents in the same room twice in the last 36 years I've been alive. So most of the time you don't have both parents in the house. And even if you do, if everybody is working, then your kid is being at childcare, and you're paying out the ass for childcare. $5,000 isn't enough. Everything costs too much. It just costs too much. It's not worth it to bring kids in the world when they're allowing adults to twerk naked on them, having drag queens read stories to them, having teachers try and create secrets with them, influence them to cut their wiener off and stuff like that. It's a scary idea to try and bring children into this world, and then everything is so damn expensive that even if you can afford to provide everything that's needed, you're going to be at work all damn day. So your kid's either alone or in childcare, where you got to pay too much money to have them being taken care of. And then what's happening to them at the daycare or the babysitter or whatever, because we've covered terrible stories about that. So no, I don't think 5K is enough. I'm not sure what the incentive is. They'd have to lower the cost of living the amount of hours that you have to work, things like that. Otherwise, it's not going to fix it. But people sure love free money, I'll tell you that. Then we got a follow-up video coming up. It's titled EPA Chief Lee Zeldin demands that Mexico stop sewage from Tijuana. Like I said, this is a follow-up video. A week or two ago, we covered a video where they were talking about how sewage is coming from Mexico and it's leaking into California. They didn't give us a whole lot of details, but we got more coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this $5,000 baby bonus. Zero, we need to shift morals back to center. Yeah, and it will take time because everybody who's in their 20s right now, they're already brainwashed. They've been brainwashed the whole time they were in their teens, right? They were in their teens. They're watching BLMers protests. They were watching social media and TV shows tell them that being a mother is oppressive, that being married is oppressive. And then the whole online whoring thing that's going on where women are just selling themselves on the internet, no incentive to get married or to even really go date women. With the way that things are going, they've kind of turned our society into like going to the gas station. You just like have a girlfriend for about an hour or two and then you just move on to something else because there's no worthwhile in investing. There's no reason to invest. And so, yeah, culture's fucked up right now in America. Not a whole lot of incentive to have a family or to do anything like that right now. Shit is messed up. So, yeah, a lot needs to change in order to get people to have babies. But you know who's not scared to have babies? People collecting welfare. There's no shortage of that. Anytime I see somebody with a cart that is full, like overflowing with food that they can't afford, there's always 16 babies walking behind them. They all got full diapers or like smoking cigars and shit like Bebe's kids. No shortage there. So I don't know if this is more incentive of, take that free money from the government. Go live off that welfare like a lot of people do when they abuse the system. Some people actually need it, but most don't. Most are abusing the system, unfortunately. Zero, make out of wedlock babies taboo again. Yeah, well, and they should do the same thing with marriage. It used to be shameful to get divorced. Now people are getting divorced and getting abortions left and right. It's just no big deal. We got to value each other again. We got to make... See, you know what? We come back to this every day. Hold people accountable every day. Hold people accountable. Accountability needs to come back if we want anything to be worthwhile again. That's the deal. When people do whatever they want, make bad choices, break agreements and stuff like that, and there's no consequence, there's no value in anything. And now we're living in a valueless society, and it's because of the lack of consequence, which is unfortunate. Pumpkin, does furry babies count? No, because they don't pay taxes or go to work. Klaus needs to get a job. I don't know where he is. I think he's staring at... He's watching some cat TV right now. The birds outside laughing at him. Met him out the lot lizards, yeah. What's up, Lone Wolf? Happy freedom to you. What's up, My Feed? Happy freedom to you. All the blue cults should not reproduce. Most of them don't reproduce because they're all 34 flavors of gay. My Feed, he needs to lower the retirement so grandpa can babysit and the child is safe. Yeah, that's a good idea. What's up, Debo? Happy freedom. Lone Wolf, Pam Bondi is such a disappointment in my opinion. No justice, just reinforce the societal decay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people not impressed with Kash Patel. I'm even seeing people not impressed with Dan Bongino. Because we haven't heard anything about Dan Bongino since he became deputy FBI director or whatever his position was. I assume things are happening in the background, but I don't know. With Scam Bondi, I'm not impressed with the Epstein stuff. I'm just not, and that was kind of the only thing that she was supposed to do, and she didn't do it. So, I don't know. Not real impressed with her, but everybody else, I just kind of assume something's happening in the background. Meta couldn't pay me $5 million to bring kids into this world. Yeah, it's pretty rough out here. I mean, back in the day, Dad could go to work, have a minimum wage job, buy a house, own a car, provide food for the entire family. Mom and the kids could stay home, or kids go to school, and everything was fine. And now both parents work full time just to struggle, just to barely make it. And that's like not like choosing to pay rent over the light bill and stuff like that. So they got to do something about the cost of living if they want people to keep making kids. What's up, BC? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Biking Cat? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Pesky? What's up, FEMA region? Happy freedom to you. Anyone arrested yet? Nah, they're not going to arrest anybody. I'm pretty convinced of that at this point. What's up, ACB? Happy freedom. Where's Luna? Anna Paulina Luna? FEMA region, they've destroyed all that on purpose? Absolutely. We are stronger united, so why would they want us united? What's up, Stern? Happy freedom? No, you didn't miss it. We just got started. We were actually sitting here with President Trump live. Rip Crow, but how dare you suggest accountability? I know, I'm such an asshole. No Wolf, damn, how amazing if life was like that today. I know. It'd be crazy. Where you could just worry about like raising your family right, you know, just keeping everybody happy and whole. And you got so much time on your hands, right? One person in the house works full time. Everything in the house is paid for. It's all good. You know what you can do? You can worry about your community after that. You can help other people get on their feet. You could you could meet your neighbors. And you guys could make sure your block is safe. You could make sure that everything in town is going well, because you won't be just staring at your bills crying every night that you can't afford anything. And so, I don't know. That's kind of the problem. We're so worried about making money, we're not really worried about anything else. And on top of worrying about making money, we're not making enough money. Like that, it sucks. It sucks. They're like, why aren't you having babies? Like, what are you talking about? Because they ain't free. Anyways, let's get into this follow-up video. Like I said, EPA Chief Lee Zeldin demands that Mexico stop sewage from Tijuana. Yeah, California's bad enough. We don't need Mexico's sewage water pouring into California. They already shit on the streets up there. Anyways, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
Center. Yeah, so EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin was in San Diego at the U.S.-Mexico border, vowing to stop the decades-long sewage crisis. Newsmax correspondent Heather Myers was with Zeldin at the border to hear the plan. Take a look.
This has been an issue that has plagued San Diego for decades and decades. EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin says enough is enough. He was in San Diego County to tour the Tijuana River Valley and see it for himself.
I am not going to stand before you right now and sugarcoat that smell and tell you that the situation as it relates to public health and the environment, which is the core mission of EPA, that this is a situation that can be tolerated. This is a situation that must be eliminated.
EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin held a news conference in San Diego after touring the wastewater treatment plant and the Tijuana River Valley pollution. Just over the past 5 years, the International Boundary and Water Commission says over 100 billion gallons of raw sewage has flowed from Tijuana into the river and right out to the Pacific Ocean. This includes fecal matter, trash, and environmental waste. This has not only sickened residents, swimmers, and surfers, as well as marine life, but also decimated the economy in this part of San Diego County. In addition, this is where Navy SEALs train in the water, and there have been numerous reports of Navy SEALs getting everything from severe stomach viruses to skin rashes, hepatitis, and even cancer. Zeldin maintains that his counterpart in Mexico and the Mexican president are now willing to do something about this. First, he wants U.S. officials to be able to inspect the Mexican sewage treatment plants on their side of the border. He also wants Mexico to commit $88 million remaining from the promise they made back in 2022. The U.S. federal government has spent $653 million in recent years. Zeldin says there is a long list of infrastructure upgrades that need to be addressed immediately.
Mexico needs to fulfill its part in cleaning up the contamination that they caused, their people caused. They cannot view this as a U.S. problem just because their contamination reached U.S. soil.
I asked Administrator Zeldin if he believes the roundtable discussions that he took part in while here in San Diego will speed up the timeline on any of these projects. He did not give me a specific answer on the timeline to get all of this done, but he did say that those discussions were productive and at least one timeline will now move ahead more than a year ahead of schedule. Reporting in San Diego, I'm Heather Myers. Now back to you.
Okay. So first we get all the criminals from Mexico. Now we're getting all their sewage. Like I said, this is a follow-up video. Now we get this politician out here saying he's going to do something about it. We'll see. They claim this has been going on for years. Again, where's all the climate change people at? I think they really don't understand that pollution is what hurts the planet. I know they think it's cow farts and stuff, but what about this? What about the sewage from Mexico? You're not worried about that coming into California? You think that's going to be all right? Isn't that where most of the climate change people are? Is in California eating guacamole and stuff? Sitting on their ass doing nothing? I don't know. There's not enough people crying about this. I know that. Next up, early Texas hospital data shows millions of doll hairs spent in care for non-U.S. citizens. That's the nice way of saying illegals. So it's not just Texas. It's obviously all across the country. Illegals were getting treatment and health care and all that kind of stuff. Well, Texas is not a big fan of what the data is showing now that the numbers are coming out. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about Mexico allowing the sewage to run right into California. Russell, my farts destroy the environment. I believe you, Russell. It's harsh enough to freeze the voice chat. I'm just saying. Zero, time to start finding Mexico daily. Yeah, that's a good idea. They should do that. They should run this by President Trump and see what he says. He's already throwing tariffs at everybody. Pumpkin, Mexico must not be treating their sewage before they dump it in the river. That's what it sounds like. I'm kind of surprised that they agreed to allow us to go over there and take a look at their sewage treatment plant to see what they're doing. I'm sure they're not following the same standards that we have. That's what crazy is. So crazy is I always feel like we have really low standards, and then I remember that everywhere else in the world has lower standards, and so it's scary. That is scary. Shroomish, for 5 years this has been going on and now he cares? Useless politicians. Yeah. He needs a little spotlight. Kind of like Senator Dumbass going out to El Salvador. There's more of those individuals going around and checking out illegals, gang members, terrorists, people like that. It's near the live. We'll be covering those videos. Well, if Mexico's dumping their poo on us, I know, we're just taking it. Pumpkin, Mexico should get the poo award. Yep, it should be like a $100,000 fine every day. That's probably lowballing it. That's awesome, Hair Juicer. Congratulations to you guys. 10-man, happy for him to you. Something seems off today. Can't put my finger on it. I feel that way too. Klaus Daniels, you did it. It's your fault. Yeah, it's your fault. Oh, he's offline. Sometimes he'll look at me and I swear his eyes will go like this. He'll just look and be like, doo! He's like just offline for a little bit. He's not tolerating that crap. That's a good butt. That's a good butt on that cat. You a good boy. He's like, yeah, I know. You gotta tell me, I know. Joel Carris, the refried beans. I think that's what Russell was just saying. He had it for lunch. It's Russell's fault. Meta, there's a lot of warnings in the news about bacteria in the ocean. This is up the coast from San Diego. They never mention Mexico shit, and that's probably the cause. Yeah, Meta, I bet it is. I bet you're exactly right. The news will do anything except for tell you the truth. What's up, Killer J? Happy freedom. The real problem is that the government doesn't want us to be happy and wealthy. Yep, you're right. That's why the only people that end up wealthy and happy are the ones who lie about their income. Killer J, where I live, our city just dumped a bunch of sewage into one of our lakes that runs into Lake Michigan. Let's see. I'm gonna city east of us just dumped their poo in our rivers too. Jesus loves us, Killer J. God, it's so bad. So bad. Biking Cat, there's so much PhD level propaganda pushing climate change. It is more normal for people to believe in it. I hope we can destroy the science religion and get real environmentalism going. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's like that across the board. I'm saying, where's all the climate change people when they're worried about this stuff going on with Mexico dumping their sewage on us? Cinderella Zeldin is the head of the EPA now. Well, hopefully he'll actually do something about all of this instead of just accepting attention. Cinderella, they need to stop. What the heck can we eat? Yeah. What's up, Wayward? Happy Freedom? Wayward, I had Mill Creek in my backyard half my life. Sewage overflow. That's no good. Did you get superpowers? I got this. I think I got the Oblongs series, and I love that. I love the Oblongs, and it's kind of based around that. This family being, it's not just sewage, it's like a radioactive material dump site. That's why they're called the Oblongs. That was the first thing that popped in my head. Russell Klaus gave you the side eye? Yeah. Just thinking at me. Just thinking. Don't you do the airplane ears at me? Mm-hmm. It's a big booty on that kitty. Anyways, moving forward here, like I said, early Texas hospital data shows millions spent in care for non-U.S. citizens. We got lots of illegal talk. Either way, this is coming up next, but first I want to remind you hooligans really quick, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out, as we're making Saturdays more fun. Let's get this pulled up. When she gives you that face, yeah. Anyways, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommiTube, and let's get into this.
Preliminary state data shows tens of thousands of people who are in the United States illegally received medical care at Texas hospitals in recent months. Now, this data comes from an order from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. It required Texas hospitals to ask patients about their immigration status. Yesterday, an employee with the Texas Health and Human Services Commission spoke in front of a House committee testifying on House Bill 2587, which would make that executive order permanent. Now, the data is not publicly available just yet, but according to HHS, a large number of patients in Texas do not have legal status.
The number of visits was in the thousands or the tens of thousands, and the costs were in millions. But we should be finalizing the data by the end of the week.
According to the Texas Hospital Association, hospitals in Texas spend more than $3 billion a year on uninsured care that is not reimbursed. A large portion of that is for American citizens that just don't have health insurance, though. House Bill 2587 was left pending in committee.
Yep, illegals getting health care. And those are the ones who just didn't have any benefits. They were saying that they were depleting our Medicaid or Medicare or whatever, Meta something or other. They were getting those benefits too, depending on what label they used when they got in the country, because we had asylum seekers, we had gotaways, so on and so forth. So depending on what label they chose when they walked into the country illegally, dictated what kind of benefits they got. So those are individuals who just were getting treatment while being illegal. There's a bunch of others who were, like I said, depleting our resources for, I think it was Medicaid and whatnot, because they had to get the money from somewhere. So why not pull the money from there? Same thing with FEMA, right? FEMA money. They didn't have any disaster relief money because they were blowing all their money helping out illegals. And so we'll continue to have stories like this. And like I said, Texas isn't the only state. All 50 states had illegals in them. All 50 states have hospitals that were treating those illegals. So Texas just now figuring it out, getting those numbers back. That is money that is gone. That money's never coming back. How are you going to get money from them? We're deporting half these people. So I don't know. It's no good, but at least we're making a step in the right direction here, getting this mass deportation underway, get these 25 million illegals out of here, and then we can just worry about our own people. Either way, next up, magic mushrooms shouldn't be used without supervision, says doctors, which is funny because they're like terribly illegal. But either way, it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this hospital data in Texas. Zero, can you remind people about lowering the video quality if it's freezing or skipping? It's been happening for weeks. On the Rumble lives, don't know what's going on. That sounds like a data issue. But thank you for letting me know, Zero. Yeah, that sounds like a processing issue. But yeah, I guess if you hooligans are having issues over on Rumble, you could try and lower the video quality, see if it helps. Freely Texan, you need a guide with you when you shroom out. Yeah, a spiritual guide. That's what you need. Joel DeCare, has anyone seen True Facts videos by Z Frank? I don't think I've ever seen that. Rip Curl, did you upgrade the chat to the smell-o-vision? No, you gotta pay extra for that. Winston, the reports act like she's surprised poorly. Yeah. Shocked that illegals go to the hospital and it costs us money. Like, yeah. Metal Mouth Squid Billy's was hilarious. Yeah, I think so too. Screaming Eagle, eat poop and you'll be healthy. No, that's just a California thing. For the Texan, I just ate spam. Why? Why did you do that? I can't do it. It's like Fear Factor for me. Meta, look at the belly on that big fat handsome Klaus Daniels cat. I know he's humongous. I thought he was choking yesterday. I wasn't gonna tell you guys, but since it gets brought up, he was laying on the floor, looking like a piglet, and he was wheezing. I don't know if he had something in his throat or what, but he was like filling up with air, and then he would like do that kind of noise, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? He did it like 3 or 4 times, and I didn't know what to do. I'm not trained in the kitty Heimlich, so I just start whacking him in the back and trying to stand him up, and he's just flopping over. He's wheezing on me, so I'm like macking him in the back, trying to get him to cough up whatever he's got, and he's just like looking at me with the bad ears and stuff. He's got airplane ears, and I'm like, what the hell? And he gets up, and he's like, meow. Like, dude, I thought you were having a medical emergency. I thought my son was going to die. False alarm. He was just wheezing on me like a set of bagpipes. I don't know. Klaus Daniels, keeping me on my toes. What's up, Southern Eagleman? Happy freedom to you. Thank you so much, Southern Eagleman, for continuing the membership program over on Twitch for 10 months. You're officially a hooligan. I appreciate you, Southern Eagleman. Thank you. What's up, Crazy Times? Happy freedom to you. Biking Cat, it sucks that the deportations can't be fully by the book, but Biden brought in 20 million in just 4 years. Well, the Illegals Alien Act, or whatever it's called, is supposed to like expedite the deportations. All due process is going to do is it puts them before a judge so the judge can say, you're supposed to be deported. Now, I've already said that they should just do this over Zoom call. That's not even new. They've been doing that since the lockdowns. A lot of times you'll go in to the library if you're an inmate, and they'll put you on this 2-way video call. You'll talk to the magistrate, they'll arraign you, and then sometimes they'll even do your pretrial like that, where you just stand in line. You'll be in the library standing in line waiting for your turn to have a video call with somebody important enough to sentence you. And they could do the same thing with these illegals. They're already locked up. So just set up a little video chat thing, and they can one by one stand in line, get in front of the camera. The judge can go, okay, you're supposed to be deported. Technically, they already are, and they'll just be where they're supposed to be. That's the thing. The whole crying about due process thing is a distraction by Democrats. These people that are being deported are supposed to be deported. It's just Democrats don't want it to happen, and they want to try and finagle delays left and right. The only thing that's questionable that's going on that I've seen is whether or not these people are gang members, because there's no database of gang members unless they've been incarcerated and they have told COs that they are gang members. That's the only way. I mean, unless they got the gang tattooed across their face, there's nothing really saying that they're a gang member. So therefore, the only questionable thing is whether or not they should be going to Supermax. If they're not a gang member, then they're not supposed to be going to Supermax unless they've committed acts of terrorism. So anything less is just deportation. So all these people, they're getting what they deserve. But it's if they go to Supermax in El Salvador to the CCOT, are they a gang member or not? If they're not and they haven't done terrorist crime, they shouldn't be going there, but they should be held accountable and they should be deported. And so as far as the mass deportations, that whole due process thing is just crying from the Democrats. It's just a distraction. Rob, give the cat a teaspoon of mayonnaise now and again to help with hairballs. It's good for their coat too. Really? I don't eat mayonnaise. It's gross. We'll see. We'll see. Devin, CCOT, run. Yep, that's right. What's up, Ball? Happy freedom to you. Wayward, I'm a Ninja Turtle, bro. What are you doing on this side of the town, Ninja Turtle? Your kind ain't welcome around here. That is funny. You guys are silly. What's up, Simply Witchy? Happy freedom to you. Simply Witchy, I agree. They can do Zoom. Yeah. It's really not that big of a deal. Here, just you got to watch Z Frank. It's hilarious and educational. Well, that sounds right up my alley. I will definitely check that out. Thank you for suggesting it here, Juicer. Thank you for letting me know, Snooks. Told to care tomato juice helps cats with hairballs too. What about like V8? I don't really just have tomato juice. For the text in Miracle Whip or get the fuck out. I don't be eating that stuff. It's nasty. Sounds like Jeff has a hairball. I took a drink of water. I don't know why it's like that. You drink water and it goes down the wrong spot, and then you need to drink more water to fix it. That's one of those things where I tell you God is funny. God does funny stuff. Meta, do you give Klaus hairball medicine? He has beautiful fur. He looks very thick. No, I don't give him anything. He eats lots of Fancy Feast and Taste of the Wild from Tractor Supply, and I've been giving him bottled water lately because I don't trust our water. They found out that there's lead in the water in the city 10 minutes from me, so I haven't been drinking the water. I drink bottled water. Hooligans Island. Well, I've been changing the batteries. We actually got 2 screaming goats now. One is a little screechier than the other. Tori Wayne, I'm Mayo and husband is Miracle Whip. Forever divided. The battle continues. Alright, like I said, we'll get into this next video. It's about magic mushrooms. This is titled, Magic Mushrooms Shouldn't Be Used Without Supervision, Says Doctors. Now they're bringing this up because they claim that more Americans are using magic mushrooms than ever before. Now, I don't know how they got that data. I think it's nonsense. I think it's wishful thinking more than anything else. Anyways, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommiTube, and let's get into this.
More and more Americans, they're using psilocybin. That's the psychoactive compound found in so-called magic mushrooms. More and more people starting to talk about this. Researchers, though, they're sounding the alarm that we may be moving a little too fast too soon. Nick's here with all the details. Nick, research says these drugs could be good for us, but what are the downsides to keep in mind here?
The downsides are people possibly self-medicating, Marky, right? Psilocybin as the next breakthrough in mental health, doctors say, but they also say it's a tool that needs guardrails. Magic mushrooms, long associated with the counterculture of the 1960s, are now at the center of a very different conversation.
There's definitely been a shift in the openness and the receptivity of the field to this type of research.
New data finds lifetime psilocybin use among U.S. adults has jumped to more than 31 million Americans. The latest numbers from 2023 show usage up 44% in adults 18 to 29 since 2019. Up 188% in adults over the age of 30, and up more than 50% among high school seniors. Researchers say several things are driving this trend. Decriminalization in places like Oregon and Colorado, and positive headlines about its potential to ease mental health struggles.
Some of them do respond well and have a good benefit in terms of symptom reductions and feeling better, not having as many difficulties with day-to-day life.
However, Luke Neferotos of the Foundation for Drug Policy Solutions warns that companies are swooping in, concerned more about profit than the drug's potential.
We are now seeing very large venture firms get involved in the psilocybin industry, in other kinds of psychedelics like ketamine, mail order ketamine, etc. And with all of this money and all of these corporate partners, we're now seeing very dubious scientific claims that are being peddled.
Meanwhile, poison control calls linked to psilocybin exposure have soared, especially among teenagers and young children who may accidentally ingest it. Experts warn that while supervised clinical studies show promise, unsupervised use, especially recreationally, can lead to serious psychological effects.
These are intensely mind-altering substances. You trip on them for 6 to 8 hours. They are very much harmful to your mental health if you are not using it under the correct procedures and being supervised by clinicians.
Many of the studies on psilocybin are still in the early stages, and health experts caution against self-medicating. And Marky, earlier this month, New Mexico became the third state to legalize psilocybin use, becoming the first state to do so via legislation instead of ballot initiatives. Yeah. Marky?
All good things to keep in mind because we know people are looking for relief any way they can these days. Nick, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
That was a kind of confusing video there. You can't tell if they were trying to demonize mushrooms or encourage you of all the good things that you can get from taking mushrooms. Either way, it is kind of hard to get that kind of stuff around here because it is terribly illegal. They consider it just as bad as crack or anything else, which it's not. It's organic, kind of like weed is. Same boat. Weed's in the same boat. I don't know. They need to get off of this stuff. There's a lot of states decriminalizing magic mushrooms or psilocybin. I think that they're using both languages. I don't think Michigan has decriminalized it, but we did have some sort of mushroom festival. I think it was last year, and I guess it went well. We know that Portland and all that over there in Oregon, they had decriminalized all drugs, but they've reversed that since then. I'm not sure if it's gone into effect yet. It might have. But for a while, everything was decriminalized in Oregon, and they said it caused so many problems that they had to turn around and reverse that. I don't think magic mushrooms is that big of a deal. Obviously, it's something that should not be around children at all. It should be, regulated a little bit. But I think that they should take it down on the schedule. I don't think it's as dangerous as crack or anything like that. I don't know if you can die from mushrooms. I've never heard of anybody dying of mushrooms. It's a little bit stronger than weed is. It's a psychedelic, so it's obviously different, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think that they should legalize it for certain aspects because it builds, psilocybin can build new neuropaths in your brain. It's kind of optimizing your brain. Now, you got to use it responsibly in order for that to happen, but I've told you guys before that I had a buddy who was in the military, and he was always signing up for random tests. He would just disappear for 3 months and go to some secret facility and come back receiving a few extra $1,000 a month. And now he's like balling. He's gone and done that so many times. But one of the studies was to go be locked in a facility somewhere near Hawaii, and they monitored him for like 90 days while microdosing him on psilocybin, on magic mushrooms, to study his brain to see what would happen. And they had discovered that it creates new neuropaths. And now, that was like 15 years ago. Now that's common knowledge that people just know that. So you're optimizing your brain, which is good. Maybe it could help with Alzheimer's. Maybe it could help with a lot of different things, seizures and things like that. But we won't know until they stop demonizing it. They'll have to legalize it to some degree to be able to test on it and figure it out. And like I said, we already have states that are decriminalizing it. So I think we're moving in that direction. Again, it needs to be regulated. It's not safe. You wouldn't want your kids to get this. Who knows what would happen if Klaus Daniels got a hold of that. But I don't think it's as dangerous as like doing heroin or something like that. That's just my opinion, though. Either way, next up, new pro-Palestinian encampment, which is the same thing as pro-Hamas, has begun by activists on Yale campus. This isn't exactly news. This is just a recording of a brand new autonomous zone that is starting up in the front yard of Yale. Yay. It's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these magic mushrooms. Oh no, the police is coming to get you, Klaus. Yep. Hair juicer clinical setting. Sissy, gobble an eighth and go for a hike. I've never. An eighth would probably make me scared. I do a G at a time, and that's about it. Mag Daddy, anyone ever die from overdosing on mushrooms? I don't think so, but let me see. Yes. Apparently there has been. So yes, there have been deaths associated, that's a magic word right there, associated with the use of magic mushrooms. According to a study published in Addiction, 43 deaths related to LSD or psilocybin were documented in Australia between 2000 and 2023. Most of these deaths were due to traumatic accidents or self-injury, often occurring when the individual experienced disorientation or severe agitation from taking the substance. In one specific case, a 34-year-old male was found unresponsive after consuming alcohol and mushrooms. The cause of death was ruled as a mix of drug toxicity involving psilocin, benzo something or other, and opiates and cannabinoids and ethanol. Okay, so no. No one has actually died from mushrooms. They've just died from the stupid shit they did while they were under the influence of mushrooms. It's COVID all over again. That's what it is, right? Person's riding a motorcycle. They get mangled by some semi-truck that didn't see him, smoked him, ran the red light, right? He's all wrapped up in the tire. They're like, what happened? COVID killed him. Oh, shit. There's another COVID death. Put it on the news. And so, yeah, same thing with psilocybin, just like weed. They say the same damn thing about weed. We were just covering that in Texas. In Texas, they banned, I can't remember if they banned THC or if they banned marijuana because they act like it's two different things. We know the difference. Anyways, but they were saying that people were overdosing. They were like, oh, yeah, we got people overdosing in the schools and in the jails and in the streets. People are overdosing on marijuana because it's too strong. People are dying. No one's ever died from weed. They might have died from stupid shit they did while they were high from smoking weed, but no one has ever died of weed. And in Texas, they passed legislation based off that argument. They were calling it, now I can't remember what the fucking word is. Whatever that movie was about scary weed that came out like in the 70s or 80s or whatever. God bless it, I can't remember what it is, but either way, they were calling it That Phrase 2.0, Scary Weed Movie 2.0, and it worked. It worked, scared Texas right out of having legal weed, I guess. They just passed new legislation, but yeah. Like I said, I don't think magic mushrooms or weed should be as demonized as it is. Klaus Daniels, you're going to shut this whole damn live off. I'm going to have to dunk the cat in the bathtub. Jesus loves us. Snooks. Don't go scaring Klaus. He's trying to attack a stink bug that just happens to be where all the cables are for the live. Zero, I looked out the window when I heard the sirens. Yeah, no, it's outside. Reefer Madness. Thank you, Zero. That's what I was talking about. Reefer Madness, yeah. Oh, Sage Puppet came out in the 50s? I didn't know that. Either way, that's what they did to Texas. Free the Texan, you haven't had legal weed? I thought you guys had medical weed or something, but they just rolled it back. I don't know. I know we played a video a couple weeks ago that was talking about that, and they were saying that people were dying from overdosing on weed. Told to carry the bad buddy system. Yeah, that's really all the supervision you need is the buddy system. What's up, little Irish? Happy freedom. Grandma's tripping. It's okay. Yeah. I mean, it'd be all right. Bingo night will never be the same. Shumish, don't ever do more than an eighth and you're good. I've never even done an eighth. What's up, Bill Clay? Happy freedom. Era 16 relief from what? TDS. That's right. Could treat all the TDS with a little psilocybin. Goes a long way. It's a PAG. Happy freedom. That's awesome. Meta. Yeah, that would be awesome. What's up, D.O.? Happy freedom. Lisa, the movie's insane. I've never seen Reefer Madness. Am I going to have to put it on the wish list? What's up, Miss Gen X? Happy freedom to you. Noblest, mushrooms are good, but LSD is bad, which is ridiculous. I think LSD is just bad because it's made with random chemicals. Mushrooms just grow out, well, you gotta have substrate or whatever, but they're, more natural. Cheeky Chops, who's down for anarchy in the hood? No, it ain't summer yet. You gotta wait. You gotta wait till at least June to do that. What's up, Tim Mack? Happy freedom. Texas weed got denied because of the group behind it. It was a Canadian company trying to corner the market in the whole state. Politics. What's up, Steve S? Happy freedom. Edibles wipe people out. Weed is only so strong. Yeah. It still isn't killing people, though. Not yet. Eventually, we'll have concentrates that maybe somebody will actually kick the bucket from having too many cannabinoids in their system, but not yet. Not yet. We haven't had anybody die of it yet. Somebody's going to break that record one day, though. Snooks, it's okay, Klaus. You can come live with me. I'll feed you steak and chicken. He doesn't eat steak or chicken. He won't. He won't. He eats beef jerky, but he won't eat steak or chicken or turkey. I'm trying to think what else I've tried to feed him. Or popcorn or cheese or french fries or Cool Whip. And that's about it. That's about it. He won't eat that stuff. Here, Juicer, they made me watch that in my DUI class. Worst documentary I've ever seen. They just make unfounded claims for 90 minutes. Holy shit. Here, Juicer, it's like watching CNN. I'm so tempted to watch it. There's got to be somewhere I could watch it. All right, hooligans, let's get into this next one. Like I said, this isn't really news. This is just kind of a recording showing us that there is a new pro-Hamas encampment that has just been started by the local activists over on Yale. Glad to see that money is going far. So basically what this is video evidence of why Yale's about to lose their federal funding. Go ahead and hit that like button if you got one, and let's get into this. Again, there's no news or anything. We're just looking at dirty people pretending they're in Palestine.
Silence 3! Stop the violence now! One! We are the people too!
Prostitute.
Make America great again.
أشهد أن محمداً رسول الله أشهد أن محمداً.
Okay, like I said, Not exactly news, but now we know why Yale is going to lose their federal funding. They should send ICE there immediately, and then they should punish all of those students who are sympathizing with terrorists. Maybe even arrest those people. I don't know, but they cry really hard over Mahmoud Khalil, which we haven't heard a lot about lately. We're waiting for him to get his trial in New Jersey so he can explain to the judge why he lied on his visa when they asked him if he had any ties to a foreign government. And then he'll be deported. And then these people will be really mad just in time for summer. Either way, I assume we'll have an update of sorts on the campus of Yale. Next up, Caroline Levit speaks to reporters about China, trade deals, Ukraine, and more. Caroline Levit did a parking lot presser today. I'm not a big fan of that, but it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these pro-Hamas protesters building an encampment over at Yale University. Russell, I believe in free speech, but shut that shit down. Yeah, that's how I feel too. I mean, free speech is free speech. Sympathizing with terrorists is crossing the line. It's the same thing as making threats to people, right? You're threatening somebody's life. It's not covered by free speech. Sympathizing with terrorist organizations is not covered by free speech. And I don't know why these idiots don't get it, but they do. And it's really stupid because we watch people go to jail over and over and over for claiming that they wanted to join ISIS. When ISIS was a new thing, especially here in Michigan, there was tons of people all over the news. Oh, so-and-so was caught trying to get a plane ride out to wherever, Afghanistan or somewhere, Iraq, wherever they are, because they were going to join ISIS and cut the heads off of Christians. And nobody was crying about free speech then. Nobody was saying anything about it. People knew. You did not want to even pretend to sympathize with the terrorist organization. And then we got these yahoos, and mommy and daddy never whooped their ass and told them no enough. And now they're out here like, what do you mean we can't sympathize with terrorists? I was just joking. Don't take me to jail, bro. I'm like, stupid. Actions have consequences, and they're going to find out the hard way, and they're going to say the mean orange man sent the ICE police out here to get us. Well, come on, man. Like, there's a line, and these people are crossing it. And like I said, the next we're going to hear is going to be about how they're losing their federal funding. I guarantee it. The big thing that made Columbia University get so much spotlight about losing their federal funding was because all of last school year, we were watching their buildings getting taken over by these assholes. They were saying more than half the students that were being arrested weren't even students. They weren't even people who were going to that school. They were just there because of the event. And then there was people even from outside the country who were participating in these activities on college campus. And they're trying to do the same thing at Yale, so we'll figure it out. Let me see, Snooks. Oh, thank you for letting me know, Lisa. I'll check it out after the live. Try not to post links in the chat, though. But I appreciate it, Lisa. Thank you. Jay Spray, how can you promote debt to America as an American? Just tie your own noose and shut up. Yeah, for real, Jay Spray. I'm saying it just doesn't make sense. These people are spoiled children. Mac Daddy, why aren't we protesting more about our own country's dumb shit? Because a lot of these people are paid protesters. We used to call them fire starters back when I first started live streaming, because you'd see a group of people who are lost. They feel strongly about stuff, but they're lost. They don't have any direction. So they send in a Fed boy or somebody paid by Soros or something to go in there and go, hey, we should do this or we should do that. And the group's like, yeah, let's do that. And so then they just all start invading buildings or burning shit down or, you know, whatever it may be, but it's never anything worthwhile. It's never anything worthwhile. We should be pissed. Protest the fluoride in the water. Protest that we don't have the Epstein files yet. Protest that we got to worry about judges standing in the way of mass deportation. Protest that we got dudes in women's sports still. There's tons of stuff we could protest. Protest taxes so we don't have to pay taxes anymore. But nope. Let's worry about what Palestine is doing. These people couldn't tell you where Palestine was on a map. They couldn't. A bunch of smart, dumb people out here. At least they got their little paper saying they got a college degree. Matt Daddy, you'll love that movie. I am very interested in seeing Reefer Madness. Zero, I do not want to hear that shit on my American streets. I know they were all singing in Swahili and stuff. They didn't even know what they were talking about. Jay Spray, let the Nazi rallies begin. That's kind of what it is. Screaming Eagle, feed him pork and tell him it's goat. Well, that's offensive, and they'll try and fuck it. I probably shouldn't say that. Well, it's already out the bag, isn't it? Hey, thanks for being here, Metal Mouth. Enjoy the rest of your day. Shroomish, Hamas is the terrorists, not the Palestinian people. Yeah, but the problem is that the pro-Hamas protesters the pro-Palestinian protesters resemble Hamas. They dress like Hamas. They use the same phrases as Hamas. They pretty much worship Hamas. They're just going under the guise of Palestine. That's it. It's been that way since the beginning. That's why they're getting picked up, is because they have ties to Hamas, or they're sympathizing with Hamas. Totally care. Go home, stupid people. Yeah. I don't know. When I was in college, I was worried about like getting good grades and shit. Wasn't worried about what a foreign country had going on. I don't care now what foreign countries have going on. We got our own problems. Meta, in my day, you'd be in jail if you put a tent up in campus. It's not allowed. Yeah, well, and the thing is they go out there and do this stuff, and they claim, well, we have the right to free speech. Okay, that has nothing to do with being on campus. You have the right to drink beer. You can't drink beer on campus in a lot of situations, right? You can smoke cigarettes. Can't smoke cigarettes on campus. Can't smoke weed on campus. You can't do any of that. Can't have sex in the front yard on campus. Like, tons of stuff. There's a whole long list of things you can't carry guns on campus. How about that? You have a Second Amendment right, cannot carry firearms on campus. But they're like, yeah, you know what? Let's let the protesters build an encampment out front because they got free speech. Okay, but when that encampment has guns, you gonna feel the same way because it's your first and your second there. And that's the thing, is they have policies for these schools. They're just not enforcing the policies when it comes to this pro-Hamas protesting shit. A lot of times we see the professors get involved in the pro-Hamas protesting. Then the police show up, and we watch these professors get slammed down on their face on the cement. We all laugh, have a good time. They don't like it all so much. But, you know, just round and round we go because nobody is enforcing the policy. Nobody's enforcing the laws. And last year we had... I think Yale was with them. We had the head of Harvard and 3 or 4 other colleges that came before Congress to explain why they're allowing anti-Semitism to happen on their college campus. And they all gave generic answers and stuff like that. I think we saw the head of, I want to say it was Harvard, resign, or one of the big schools had their leader resign right after they had to speak to Congress because they can't make sense of it all. They have policies against violence. They have policies against hate and stuff like that. But then they look the other way when this stuff comes around. So like I said, we'll have follow-ups on Yale. That's for sure. Hey, thanks for being here, Cliff. Cheers to you. Hooligans Island, but they allow them to attack Jewish people. Yeah, and that's what doesn't make sense. It's still racism, but they only allow one kind. The Russell, you crack me up. Winston, the piano player from Reefer Madness, is my hero. I will keep that in mind. All right, hooligans, let's move forward here. Like I said, this next one is Caroline Levit speaks to reporters about China, trade deals, Ukraine, and more. This is a parking lot presser from earlier today. Before we get into this, I want to remind you, hooligans, really quick, if you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So you got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat, and like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We got chapstick emojis, scream and goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live, so definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. Like I said, let's get into this parking lot presser with Caroline Levit from earlier today. Dressed fairly modest. Either way, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the commie tube, and let's get into this.
Caroline. Can we expect any more Palm Joint press conferences in the near future?
Wasn't that fun? A little fresh air this morning. It's good for everybody. You heard from the president earlier. You'll hear from him again at 5 o'clock. As you all know, he's signing executive orders. There will be 7 executive orders by my count focused on education. Secretary Linda McMahon will be here in the Oval Office as well. I won't get ahead of them, but we'll see you all there, and the president will take some questions, but I'll take some now too.
Caroline, what have these huge tariffs on China accomplished?
Leverage and ensuring the rest of the world knows that the United States of America is no longer going to be ripped off. President Trump has made that very clear, not just with China, but with almost every single country on the planet. There have been hundreds of countries now that have reached out to the United States, to the Trump administration, to make deals. As I said yesterday, there were 18 proposals on paper that have been presented to our trade team, and we're negotiating on behalf of the American worker. And no other president has taken on such an endeavor. Many have talked about it. Many on both sides of the aisle have pledged to do what's right for the American worker and our manufacturing industry. But this is the first president to actually use the leverage of the United States to bring people to the table.
But has that leverage actually worked? Because China hasn't made any concessions at all.
Have some patience and you will see.
We just heard from President Trump on Truth Social talking about Zelensky in the Wall Street Journal article that just came out. Has the U.S. asked Ukraine to give up Crimea as part of this negotiation for a peace? And also, will he meet with Zelensky in Rome this weekend?
Well, as President Trump rightfully pointed out in that statement, it was President Obama who gave up Crimea, who allowed Russia to take it over in 2014. And so the president is not asking Ukraine to recognize Crimea. Nobody has asked them to do that. What he is asking is for people to come to the negotiating table recognizing that this has been a brutal war for far too long. And in order to make a good deal, both sides have to walk away a little bit unhappy. And unfortunately, President Zelensky has been trying to litigate this peace negotiation in the press. And that's unacceptable to the president. These should be closed-door negotiations. The president's national security team, his advisors, have exuded significant time, energy, and effort to try to bring this war to an end. The American taxpayer has funded billions of dollars in this effort, and enough is enough. The president's frustrated. His patience is running very thin. He wants to do what's right for the world. He wants to see peace. He wants to see the killing stop. But you need both sides of the war willing to do that. And unfortunately, President Zelensky seems to be moving in the wrong direction.
Does the president think that Europeans are doing enough, and some countries are spending more in defense, reaching the 2% threshold? So what does the president think about European support for Ukraine?
Look, the president has always maintained that Europe always needs to do more, whether it's in the effort to end this war in Russia and Ukraine, whether it is in terms of their spending when it comes to NATO and their own defense spending as well. He's made that clear to them in private and also in public. You've seen it when we've had many different European leaders coming to the White House. We'll have one tomorrow, of course. Norway will be here tomorrow.
Caroline, as the president is conversations with the others, has he threatened to walk away if that is not accepted by the end of the day today?
Not by the end of the day today, but the president has maintained that his frustration is growing and he needs to see this thing come to an end.
Caroline, can I ask you? Will President Trump and President Putin meet in Saudi Arabia next month? Is that the plan?
I'm not tracking a meeting at this time, but as always, we'll keep you updated. I did announce the dates of the foreign trip yesterday.
On this morning, can you talk about the motivation behind the significance of President's move to install massive American flags here at the White House out of the pocket?
I'm sorry?
Can you talk about the motivation behind, as well as the significance of the President's move to install massive American flags?
Oh, the flags. I thought you were referring to the flags we lowered in honor of Pope Francis. Yeah, look, I mean, the President is a real estate developer at heart, and he's always looking for ways to improve the White House complex, not for him, but for future generations, for future presidents. He has some fun ideas for this complex, which we've kept you all apprised of as they have happened and will continue to do. So you can expect to look up, I think, quite soon and see a very big, beautiful American flag, perhaps on the North Lawn and the South Lawn. I think it has yet to be decided. So we'll see you all later. Thanks, Caroline.
All right, Caroline Levit, parking lot presser. Like I said, this is from earlier today. We heard President Trump talk about that, some of these topics while he was signing executive orders in the beginning of the live. Also, there is video on X of President Trump, like I had mentioned in the chat during the executive order signing. President Trump, Hooligans had brought up President Trump's hair. It was looking kind of rough during the executive order signing. I also thought he had been kissed by the sun a little bit. He was looking a little red in his face. But like I said, on X, there's videos going around showing him out in the front yard and stuff of the White House with a few other people. The press was following him around. He was talking about how they're going to be putting up 200-foot flags on each side of the White House, like Caroline Levit was just referencing. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but it's supposed to be huge. It's supposed to be huge flags. So kind of excited to see that. Either way, next up, GOP states look to ban undocumented drivers from obtaining licenses. And this sounds like a no-duh kind of situation, but apparently 19 states were giving illegals driver's licenses. And apparently, in some of these states, in order to get a driver's license, all you had to do was pass a vision test. So I guess you don't have to do a written test or a driving test or show ID. You just show up and you go, yeah, my eyeballs work. They're like, here's a driver's license. And then we wonder why we were having car accidents with illegals and stuff like that. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about Caroline Levit and her parking lot presser. Snooks, Ev Zelensky, he's a wuss. Yeah, we'll see how this negotiating stuff goes. Tomorrow, President Trump was talking about they're supposed to be signing mineral deals with Russia and Ukraine. We'll see how it goes. He mentioned that last week. Sage Pop, she's so beautiful. Everybody thinks she's hot. Except for the Democrats. The Democrats hate Caroline Levit. And I don't know why. I don't know why. She's kind of aggressive during the pressers. And it's whatever. The reporters are stupid, so it's kind of deserving. But other than that, I don't know why the Democrats hate her so much. They try to say she's like Christian Barbie and stuff like that. I think they don't like her because she's pretty. I think that's what it is. I think they're threatened by her being decent looking. I mean, you know, I don't know if I'd date her. She's a little too stuck up for me, but she's very nice looking young lady, right? And I think that's what pisses the Democrats off. Otherwise, she's just reporting on what she's told. The decisions she makes is who does she call on and what word choice does she use when she's responding to a question. Otherwise, she's not making a whole lot of decisions. But man, the left is constantly attacking Caroline Levit, and I just don't get that. 10-man, Dems hater because she's a white woman? Yeah, it definitely could be. Pumpkin, they're just jealous. See, that's what I think. I think they're just jealous. Stoner, I can't read that out loud, but yeah. Yeah, that is funny. Told to carry in Washington State, you get a driver's license, they automatically register you to vote also. Yeah, I think they do that here in Michigan. Your voter ID comes from renewing your driver's license and stuff. Sage Pub, never seen an attractive liberal lady. Goth girls. Goth girls are liberals. Oh, like 9 out of 10 goth girls. Just pale, pink-toed, goth girls. They are liberals, and some of them are attractive. They usually smell bad, though. Kind of spoiler alert. That's they usually don't smell that great, but most liberals don't. So either way, told to care, beauty and brains. They be hating. They are. Rap either just the party of hate. They are. They're always mad about something, even if it's a problem with a country that's not us. Hey, thanks for being here, Screaming Eagle. Enjoy the rest of your day. The left is the party of haters. That's what it is. Vinny, I agree it's jealousy. It's got to be, because I just don't understand. She doesn't... I don't want to downplay her job, but she doesn't do anything, right? She passes messages along to the public. How can you be mad at her? You gonna shoot the messenger? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just... that doesn't make sense. Mobilist, you kind of seem like you're having a hard time. What's up, T. Lawton? Happy freedom to you. They don't like anyone on the right? Yeah. Yep. They can't verbalize exactly what it is they hate about her. They just hate her. What's up, Fish? Happy freedom. What's up, neighbor guy? Happy freedom. Neighbor guy. Jeff isn't sure he'd date the White House press secretary? She's out of my league. She's out of my league. I don't like trying to keep stuck-up girls happy. Costs too much money. Status quo. Well, she's happily married to a billionaire. See what I mean? See what I mean? I'm not a billionaire. I don't want to be stuck with somebody who wants to be with a billionaire. I ain't a billionaire. Vinny C. Liberals hate themselves more than anyone else. You are not wrong. That's why they focus on death so much. Killing their own babies, smoking crack out in the alley, doing fentanyl, cutting their own wiener off. They hate themselves. You are not wrong. Yeah, 10 man. Sage Pop, the goth girl here in my neighborhood, loves Trump. I think it's only to piss her parents off. That's a winner right there, Sage Pop. My feed, it's like that in Ohio too. They register you to vote when you deal with your driver's license. I think that stuff should be uniform. Like, if we're all going to vote for the primaries, we're all voting for one president and stuff, it should be uniform. All states should have the same voting laws. And when there's a problem, we can change it across the board. Neighbor guy, a Southern belle over a goth girl? Yeah. Higher chance of finding a conservative. Either way, let's go ahead and move forward here. Like I said, GOP states look to ban undocumented drivers from obtaining licenses. Like, we don't got enough laws. We got to keep passing laws because the laws we got are worded stupid. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why would we let illegals drive? Why do we let illegals do anything? Why give them food? Why give them water? Why allow them to talk? Why allow them to be here? It just doesn't make sense. I always put it in the perspective of they broke into your house. They broke into your house. You're not going to give them food, water, blanket, pillow, sleep on the couch, have a good time. Here's the Netflix remote. Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. Either way, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
As President Donald Trump cracks down on illegal immigration, several states are following this lead. There are 19 states that issue driver's licenses to undocumented people, and some Republican lawmakers are working to pump the brakes on that. News Nation's Brooke Schaefer joins us live with more. Brooke, what are some of the measures that lawmakers want put in place?
Well, Marky, as one immigration attorney we spoke with put it, some Republican-led states are now getting creative when it comes to immigration crackdown, now targeting driver's licenses. As you mentioned, today in more than a dozen states in the District of Columbia, you don't need to show your immigration status to get a driver's license. You need documentation to get a real ID to fly, but you don't need those same documents in these states if you just want the basic driver's license. You just need to meet other state requirements like passing a vision test. So now some states are choosing to not recognize driver's licenses issued to undocumented immigrants. Florida was the first state to do this in 2023. It's now law or in the process of becoming law in 9 Republican-led states. In New Hampshire, it's a misdemeanor if you're caught with one of these licenses twice. Some Republican lawmakers, they see these moves as a message. Senator Chris Elliott from Alabama said illegal immigrants should, quote, turn around and go somewhere else. But some Democrats and that immigration attorney we spoke with worry about what this could mean for things like tourism.
I think the thing to remember is that the ultimate impact of policies like these are to put a chilling effect on tourism and other economic initiatives in states. So if immigrants don't feel safe visiting the state of Florida or working construction jobs in the state of Florida, it's everyone in Florida who suffers, not just the would-be immigrants.
That same attorney said that authorities will likely be using that new Real ID system on driver's licenses to see if someone is a citizen or in the country legally. But Marky, this comes as more and more states are joining in the Trump administration's efforts for mass deportations. Marky?
All right, Brooke Schaefer, live on the story. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah. No, we gotta let the illegals have driver's licenses or else it'll hurt the tourism. Okay. We heard the same thing yesterday talking about RFK Jr. banning 9 dyes that is put in our food. And they even say, well, some of this dye, like Red 40, can cause a reaction out of children and sensitive individuals, although none of that's been proven. I'm like, well, then why did you say it if none of it's been proven? And then they turn around and say, well, food's not going to be as colorful. It won't be brightly colored and as eye-catching without this dye. So what? So we should keep the dye that's bad for us in our food because it's pretty? We should allow illegals to drive cars because of tourism? No. No, we shouldn't. That is a stupid idea. Shut your stupid ass up. Somebody shut through the shoe. Like, that's stupid. I bet she couldn't maneuver like George Bush did. You know, she'd have cut that shoe right in the kisser. Either way, it's stupid. There's always somebody advocating to keep the bad shit around. Always. We were talking about this yesterday. There's always one dumbass who's like, no, let's continue to do the wrong thing because of this really small reason that most people don't even do. Oh, okay. Tourism. Yep, we're going to lose all the tourists. I live in a tourist area. If they ban all the illegals from driving here, we're going to lose tourism? Good. Fucking good. I'd rather live with people who kind of know how to drive versus people who are just here illegally just doing whatever they want inside of a car. They're not even being tested or anything like that. They're not even proving who they are. Passing a vision test and now they get a driver's license. And that's, like we were talking before we played the video, it's probably how they were voting. Because they're being registered to vote when they get a driver's license. Good stuff. I don't know. They should do something about that. Like I said, 19 states, almost half the country was giving out driver's licenses to illegals. For no reason. Just cause. It makes me really wonder, how bad is it being undocumented? I think that we're putting a lot of strain on ourselves just by playing the game according to the rules. I really wonder. If I want to get on a plane and I'm like, well, I'm undocumented. And they're like, what do you mean? Where's your ID? I don't have an ID. I'm undocumented. Well, you don't look undocumented. Oh, you're a racist. I'm European. Whatever. See what I can get. I'm tempted. I'm tempted to walk around and just be like, I'm undocumented. You can't prove I'm not undocumented. How do you prove that you don't have paperwork? Right? And see what you can get for free. See if you can get transport for free. You can ride a train for free. Could you ride the bus for free? Could you rent a car for free? Like I said, could you fly on a plane for free? Could you attend events for free? Would they let me in the White House press briefing room if I was an undocumented? You know, would I need press credentials or would they just let me right in? I wonder, could I get donations and shit like that? Just hit up organizations. Hey, I'm undocumented. You got a couple doll hairs for a hooligan? Come on, man. See what I can get. I don't know. It seems like we're making life hard on ourselves by playing the game. They want us to carry ID. They want us to register guns. They want us to everything. We have to sign up for everything. That's why they gave us social security numbers. Well, they gave the illegals social security numbers too. I don't know. I think we're playing the game the hard way. It's hard to say. I'll let you guys know if I decide to go on a mission and what all I get from my undocumented journey. We'll see if I find some free time for that. Next up, Tom Homan on the deported MS-13 man, obviously talking about Garcia, the MS-13 gang member, terrorist, woman-beating, illegal piece of shit that's been sent to El Salvador. Tom Homan has a couple words about that. And then we'll be getting on to a couple videos here, all related around illegals, because that's a kind of a big problem around here. Either way, it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about illegals having driver's licenses. And Zero, you got to say it with a foreign accent. I got to work on my accents. Snooks, no woman is out of your league unless that's your choice. Well, when I say someone's out of my league, that's just me being nice of saying I don't want to deal with their problems. Just being honest. Like I said, Caroline Levit looks like somebody that needs a lot of money to keep them happy. I ain't got a lot of money and I don't want to pay a woman to be happy. So that makes her out of my league. It's just me being modest. Tori Wayne, who the fuck cares about tourism than our own American suffering? Exactly. Exactly. Zero, you don't need a real ID if you're to fly if you're an illegal. Yeah, and they just let them stay in the airport. They don't check their luggage. They're just flying them all over the country. Told to care, no drama, mamas. Nope, I got enough drama in my life. I don't need those problems. Stoner free Taco Bell Crunch Wrap, maybe. Gotta brush up on my Spanish. See what I can get. Shroomish, the FDA and Big Pharma are in cahoots. They feed us the problem so they can sell us the solution. Absolutely. Winston, the Skittles... the Skittles will be the color of oatmeal. Nostradamus. I mean, I don't care about brightly colored crap. I just don't. There's a image. Let me see if I can find it really quick. I probably won't be able to, but I was seeing this image on X. I saw it a couple times. That was showing Fruit Loops or whatever, and it was saying this is what Fruit Loops look like in America. This is what it looks like in Europe, and they're all dull colored and stuff. And they're like, which one would you rather have? I'd rather have one that doesn't have poison coloring in it. Like, I don't know. It seems pretty straightforward here. Typing in Fruit Loops into the internet is always a questionable thing. It's not for the soft, I'll tell you that. No, I'm not going to be able to find it. I told you I probably wouldn't be able to. That's how life is. Well, here's kind of what I was talking about. I don't want to play this guy's goofy video. Do the thing, you goofy ass internet.
Canadian fruit.
Pause the damn video. There we go. Okay. This is what I'm talking about. On the left is Europe's version of Fruit Loops. On the right is ours. Ours has all that goofy dye in it and shit. The one on the left, the far, far left, does not have the same kind of dyes that we do. I don't give a shit about what the color is. It's all coming out brown anyways. So I don't know why, I think it's just something that I think most people don't care. Children will care. Children don't pay for shit though. So how much say do they really got? They don't buy the Fruit Loops, you do. When I was young, you'd eat it or else. That's that was my choice. You will eat it or else. This is the actual photo I was looking for. The one on the top does not have the poisonous dye in it. The one on the bottom is American goodness there, full of poison and bright colors for you to enjoy. I don't know. I just don't think it's that big of a deal. I think most Americans that are adults would rather eat food that does not have poison in it. And I think that's just that. So I don't know. They're just, constantly coming up with reasons to defend keeping us sick, keeping us down, keeping us held back. Lefties are stupid. Mag Daddy, the worst part about the cereal is both is coming from the same factory. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and on top of their pushback about we need to keep poison in the food because it makes it pretty, they're saying that in order to keep food colorful without the dye, the poisonous dyes, it's going to cost more money. So they're already saying they're going to increase the price of food because we're not allowing them to use poisonous dye. They don't have to. They could just let it be all ugly. Why color it at all? Just to make it more expensive? We already pay too much for food. We pay too much for everything. Look at this cat. Pay way too much for it. You see him look at me? He's like, don't you talk about me like that. Goodness. We pay too much for everything. Snooks, I don't eat cereal, but I used to love Frosted Flakes. I don't really eat cereal too, but yeah, I used to like Frosted Flakes as well. Is there I like Europe's better? Yeah. It's real food. Russell, there's tons of Fruit Loops at the DNC convention. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Magdaddy, I'd rather have insects used for coloring than some synthetic crap. Yeah. I mean, I would too. Of course, they'd be filling the insects with pesticides and stuff, and then, then we have problems, but still. Stoner still got all that sugar. That's true. Kevin, what happened to the blue Fruit Loops? You Americans stole them. I guess. I don't remember the blue ones. Sage Pup, there's an ice cream shop here with a flavor called Blue Goo, and your poop comes out blue. I'd send you a picture, but that's gross. Well, thank you for showing restraint there, Sage Pup. That is something else. I've never heard of blue poop. I think I'd be a little scared of that. Kevin, FBI is going to love your search history, Jeff. Yeah, you have no idea. You should hear us during the voice chat. It is hilarious. I'm Googling all kinds of stuff all the damn time. Pumpkin, oh no, my Fruit Loops. They're going to be healthier for you. Stoner, his left or my left? The far, far left. Meta, they foresee a drop in sales, so they'll inflate the price. Yeah. And I can't believe that. They just tell us up front. They're like, by the way, it's going to be extra expensive when we take the dye out of the food. Like we're supposed to be like, no, just leave the dye in. I don't want it to be more expensive. Just keep the poison in. It'll be better that way. I don't know. Goofy. Goofy ass news. There we go. Hooligans Island. I'll stick with my Lucky Charms cereal. What do you think the mushrooms? That's a different story. What do you think the marshmallows are going to look like without that dye in it? They're going to be all gray. There's gray rainbows and whatever else is in there. What's up, A-Quest? Happy Freedom. A-Quest, wait a minute. They get more fruitless than we get in the United States. Yeah. Is it fruitless? Or? Yeah, I think that is what it says. Yeah, maybe they got to add it in there just for the color difference. Steve S. The companies use the bad additives because they have longer shelf life than natural product options. Yep. A-Quest, what about the dyes in cat food? I don't know if they'll fix the feed for the animals. There's been problems with all animal feed for a long time. I'm trying to think of their name. There was somebody who was on Instagram that used to tag me all the time, and they were constantly raising awareness about it. Pet food, livestock food, and stuff like that. It's got all kinds of crap in it that's not good for animals. Causes disease and illness and all that. Like we got the damn chicken flu now, and all that stuff. I wish I could remember their name. But yeah, they need to do something about that too. But I don't know if RFK Jr. has a say in animal food. Maybe. I don't really know. Sean, maybe it's the food coloring making our poop brown. Now it'll be white? I mean, only if it's racist. Those are racist turds. Mm-hmm. Got a Klan meeting in the toilet? It's not good. It's not good. Wayward, I'm eating Fruit Loops and ice cream right now and it comes out green. Blue and green came out when we were kids. Wayward. No. No. Everybody's reporting their duty to me. That's great. I'm so glad I signed up for that. Zero, just eat grape nuts? What's a grape nut? Is that a real thing? I don't know if I want to Google that. It sounds like 2 Girls, 1 Cup kind of stuff. Or the Pain Olympics. We do a lot of weird stuff in the voice chat. You guys should join us. Get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. My feed, animal food, colorants, or iron oxides. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. What's up, Giggling Spy? Happy Freedom. Cereal is junk food, even without the dyes and sugars. Yeah. Well, not Fruit Loops. Cheerios is supposed to be good for your heart. I mean, that's what they're always saying. Has anyone ever validated that? They sure went after Subway really hard, but did anybody actually check if the Cheerios are good for your heart? Should look into that. Either way, we're going to play this video really quick. We're going to play the next 3 back to back because they're all less than a minute. Something funny I could have said there, but I'll wait till Saturday. Anyways, this next one is Tom Homan on the deported MS-13 man. Obviously talking about Garcia, the individual that the Democrats keep crying about, who's having a nice little stay over in El Salvador. Let me get these videos pulled up so we can play them back to back. This one Democrat looks like a supervillain of sorts. I don't know what her name is. Maybe you hooligans do. Either way, we'll get to it when we get to it. Like I said, this first of 3 is titled Tom Homan on deported MS-13 man. Hit that like button if you got one, and let's get into this.
I think any court can order another nation, a sovereign nation, to take a citizen national from their country in their custody and get them back to the U.S. Again, I'm not an attorney. I'll let DOJ argue this in court. But I think we remove the public safety threat, gang member, designated terrorists from the United States who have been ordered deported twice by a federal judge. I think I got plenty of due process. He got more due process than Lake and Riley got. I think any court can order.
He got more due process than Lake and Riley got. I don't know how you argue with that. Smoked him. So like I said, we got the Democrats out here. They're doing whatever it is they do. A bunch of lying and crying. This next video is titled Democrats Flew All the Way to an ICE Facility to Visit Mahmoud Khalil. Now, the last we heard, Mahmoud Khalil, which is the pro-Hamas protester, he's an activist that supposedly has ties to a foreign government. I think he's from Palestine, so maybe it's Palestine's government that he has ties to. He lied on his visa. And he was activating most of those protests that were happening on college campus at Columbia University last year. That's where these Democrats are. The bald-headed woman is the one I'm talking about. Looks like a supervillain. This is the slithering snakes. This is an 8-second video. But like I said, they came to an ICE facility. I believe it's the one in Louisiana to go and speak sweet nothings to Mahmoud Khalil. Okay, really quick video there. They're out there. They should be in prison. That's where they should be. So I don't know why they're visiting a prison. They should be in one. Either way, this is an actual news video here, and this is the third of the 3 videos. This is titled Massachusetts Congressional Delegation Meets with Tufts Student Detained by ICE. Now, this is the woman that I think is from Turkey. We watched her get arrested by ICE in the street. The Democrats that we just saw to meet Mahmoud Khalil, they also went to meet this student. So hit the like button if you haven't already, and let's get into this.
We have an update today from members of the Massachusetts congressional delegation after they visited.
Did you shit your pants, or was that just me? I don't know why this is so loud. My bad, hooligans.
A detained Tufts University student at an ICE detention facility in Louisiana. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley joined Senator Ed Markey, Representative Jim McGovern, and other leaders at Logan Airport to talk about their visit with Ramesa Ozturk. They say the Tufts graduate student has been unlawfully detained by ICE and taken from her home to Louisiana in retaliation for protected speech.
We let her know that along with many others, we have her back, we will have her back, and will continue to fight for her release from prison.
Now, the Trump administration has alleged that Ozturk engaged in activities in support of Hamas. Her attorneys argue she was detained for writing an opinion piece that called on the school to divest from Israel and to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide.
So like I was saying, Democrats are out here having field trips in the last 24 hours. Of course, they're spending tax doll hairs doing this. They're going and visiting all the terrorists. So that we had Senator Dumbass go out there and visit Garcia. He went all the way to El Salvador. Van Holly, whatever his name is. He went to go see a Garcia in El Salvador. Then the Democrats demand that there needs to be daily proof of life for Garcia. They didn't do that when Uncle Fester was in the mental hospital. Can't remember his name. Whatever his name is. Anyways, Democrats didn't demand it then. They didn't want proof of life. The public did. So they want that for Garcia. Then they go visit Mahmoud Khalil, like I said, probably in Louisiana. Then they're going to visit this woman who's from Turkey. And they're doing all of this to try and build up sympathy from the public. The normies out here, the lefties, they're all worried about their MS-13 gang members, their pro-Hamas comrades, and all this stuff, worrying about everything except for stuff that actually matters. And it's so they can have sympathy. They can pull on the heartstrings of unknowing, unsuspecting Americans so they can go, yeah, we shouldn't be doing these bad things that aren't actually happening. These people are where they're supposed to be. Now, the Turkish woman could be questionable. If she just wrote an article that didn't state that she was sympathizing with terrorists, then yeah, what she did was probably covered under free speech and she shouldn't be detained. But we don't really know because they're not giving us any details on it yet. She's going through due process, so we won't know until she goes through a stupid process. Mahmoud Khalil, however, we already know that he's a pro-Hamas activist and he lied on his visa. No need to feel sorry for this guy. He made his own choices. Same thing with Garcia. He's a woman-beating illegal that was in the country who's being accused of being MS-13. Now, I don't know if he's MS-13 or not. There's suggestions that he is. They suggest that his tattoos are. But there isn't anything necessarily explicitly claiming, yes, he 100% is MS-13. But he's a woman-beating illegal and he's been deported. That's good enough. That's good enough. If they want to decide if he should be on the inside or outside of CCOT, leave it to El Salvador to figure out what to do with their people because he is from El Salvador. So, again, this Democrats just pulling on the heartstrings of normies and stuff like that, trying to get sympathy, trying to help the media dupe Americans that are not paying attention to what's going on around here. And that is that. So that's the last. Well, it's not the last little bit of our news. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. Next up, we got Lefties losing it. This is titled Larry David's Demented Hitler Attack Against Bill Maher. It's coming up next, and that will be wrapping up our news. And then we will be getting into our fun stuff of the day. But before we do any of that, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about the Democrats going on tour, visiting gang members, and people being deported. Russell, I have no sympathy. I don't either. They made their bed. There's no reason to be mad that they're laying down in it. Snook's cue ball head. I don't know what that woman's name is, but she looks like a supervillain. What's up, Northern Pike? Happy Freedom? Kevin, you waive your right to due process when you enter the country illegally. That's how I feel too, but the Democrats don't feel the same. Pumpkin, I have no sympathy for illegals. Yeah, no one should. Thank you, Too Old to Care. Yeah, John Fetterman. The Democrats weren't asking for daily proof of life when Fetterman was locked away in a mental hospital and his wife took the kids to Canada or some other country for vacation. They weren't demanding proof of life then. Shroomish grape nut cereal is like eating a spoonful of gravel. I don't know if my teeth could handle that. I can't eat granola. I'm trying to think. There's a couple other things I can't eat because it's just too hard on my teeth. Meta, proof of life and due process for immigrants, but who cares about Americans? A mad, mad world. Yeah. They weren't caring about due process when it came to the J6ers being locked up, but they're all worried about what's going on with the illegals who aren't even supposed to be in the country. What's up, Dakota? Happy freedom. Hooligans Island, they used to claim that Mikey from Life Cereals commercial died from drinking Coke and Pop Rocks together. I didn't know there was like a patient zero. I've always heard that if you drink pop and eat Pop Rocks together that your stomach will explode. I never knew where that came from though. Propaganda that's older than I am. Steve S., if a U.S. congressman leaves the country to defend an illegal, they should arrest them on the tarmac for treason when they return. I agree. And in a certain way, they're breaking the Logan's Act. Now, what we just watched the Democrats do isn't necessarily illegal in any way. They're just going, and really what they're doing is they're giving these illegals hope. And they shouldn't do that. It's wrong. And as long as the law is followed, those people are not coming back. They're being deported. Mahmoud Khalil, the woman from Turkey, and Garcia, who is currently in El Salvador, they're leaving. Garcia's gone already, but they're not coming back. So to go over there and go, oh, we're standing with you, we're fighting for you, blah, blah. Why give them hope? I just don't get that. Why give them hope? Because as long as the law is followed, they're not coming back. So you're just getting their hopes up for no reason. But leave it to the Democrats to be a walking nightmare as they are. Now, with Senator Dumbass, let me figure out if it's Van Holly or Van Hollen, because I would like to know. I want to say it's Van Holly. If I could type. Oh, but it is Van Hollen. Yes. Van Hollen is the senator that went to El Salvador to go eat lunch with Garcia and all of that. Now, Van Hollen was trying to talk to Boo Boo Kelly, the president of El Salvador, and trying to talk about getting phone privileges or even the release of Garcia, the MS-13 gang member that was deported. Now, for Senator Van Hollen to go and negotiate the release of Garcia, which was a decision made by the U.S. government, that is infringing on the Logan Act. It had, they cannot interfere with something that our federal government has already decided. And the fact that they're trying to negotiate for our government instead of our president doing it is interfering with the Logan Act. And the more that they push for this, the more that these people deserve to be locked up. It's not going to be treason, but they should be held accountable. Jeff Reynolds McGavin was one of the congressmen from those videos there. Yeah. Wayward, I don't know who Mahmoud Khalil is other than what you show. Yeah, I mean, that's all I know. I really only know what we cover. What's up, everything? Happy freedom? Fruit Loops and ice cream. Ew. It'll be okay. Russell grape nuts are good. Are they hard on your teeth? What's up, Josh 1776? Happy freedom to you. They didn't ask for proof of life of that Dem or let's see, for that Dem or the Supreme Court justice who was brain dead in the hospital for 2 months. Yeah. Yep. They only care about their illegals. Kevin, election day is next Monday. Let's go conservatives. Holy, you'll have to let us know how it goes, Kevin. What's up, High Plains Drifter? Happy freedom to you. Stoner, if you boof Pop Rocks and cola, you'll blow it out your cornhole, I guess. Holy, I'm trying to think of what it is. Mentos. Boof a Mentos and then chug a Coca-Cola. See how that goes. Clean your system right out. Plastic Quack, isn't bringing a knife to school illegal? Shouldn't he be in jail at least for that? You're talking about Carmelo Anthony Yeah, you would think so. But they're hands off, and it's been really quiet about Carmelo Anthony lately. I think they don't want so much attention on that story because it's obvious that their son is a murderer, and they're doing press conferences as if he's the victim, and then they get $500,000 in donations on top of it. And now they're like, well, they made their money. Let's pull them out of the news. I don't know. It's not good. Russell, my goodness. Plastic Quack, happy freedom to you. Kevin, the conservatives are going to take the toll off the bridge so we don't have to pay to leave anymore. That's badass, Kevin. Meta, the 4th and the 14th Amendment protect these people. A rewrite to the language in those two amendments is needed. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of changing the Constitution, but it is frustrating to see the Constitution protecting illegals that broke into the country. That doesn't make sense to me. Steve S., the problem is all of congressmen split and skim and get rich. They won't stand for any members getting busted for what they do. Yep, you're right. And that's why nothing changes. We just have the same problems forever. Just perpetually moving on while excuses are showing up left and right. All right, hooligans, let's get on to this next one. Like I said, this is the last little bit of the news, and we're going to get into the fun stuff. This is Lefties losing it. Larry David's demented Hitler attack against Bill Maher.
It's time for Lefties losing it. Rosie O'Donnell. We're going to talk about Rosie again. She continues to make a fool of herself in TV interviews. It appears since fleeing America due to an incurable case of TDS, her full-time job is doing these daft interviews where she says stuff like this.
I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country. And although I was not one of the celebrities who announced that that's what I would do, I made the decision within my family and my therapist, and should he win, and then when he did, we made the plan into action, and we were gone before he was inaugurated.
Yes, she fled with her non-binary child to a country that is more socially conservative than much of America, certainly more than the blue city she fled. Rosie is not that bright, it seems. Perhaps she missed the fact that Ireland's abortion laws are pretty strict, only freely available in the first trimester, or the fact that fewer than 1 in 5, 17% in fact, of Irish folk agree with laws allowing a person to change their birth certificate when they self-identify as the opposite sex. But Rosie doesn't care about those sorts of facts. She's obsessed with Project 25.
It's been heartbreaking, I have to tell you. I knew that if I was in the United States and watched him destroy the country and the Constitution and really pay no mind to any of the laws that the founders stood by and that our country stands for as a beacon of shining light and freedom for the rest of the world, that should he do what the Heritage Foundation said he was going to do in that Project 2025, that we were going to be in big trouble. And it's as bad as they promised and even a little bit worse. And it's been heartbreaking and personally very, very sad to watch.
I tell you, not everyone is happy with Rosie moving to Ireland. Let's hear from this local woman.
Rosie O'Donnell has just moved to Ireland. How do you feel about her coming to Ireland?
I'm pretty disgusted, to be honest. I'm fully aware of the housing situation here, and for someone to come to our country to hide from the President of the United States, they're very not welcome here. It's absolutely disgusting.
Now to the University of North Carolina, where Republican Nancy Mace was being heckled by some dude in a dress demanding an apology. Listen here how his voice changes about halfway through this exchange.
Does your husband call you babe? Okay, so even better. I don't care. Okay, so I would like for you to apologize, but it is derogatory, and second of all. Is tranny derogatory to you? Well, yeah. Of course the tranny. Yeah, tranny. If that's derogatory, I'm sorry.
Oh, that was a dramatic change, wasn't it? And why did he pick up that pot plant? Was he going to water it or hurl it at someone? Now, let's check in with our friends at CNN who are now reporting on Joe Biden's cognitive decline. It's a little bit late now. Let's have a look at what they were claiming last year in the lead up to that debate with Donald Trump.
President Biden has spent days locked in intense preparation, surrounded by his closest advisors at Camp David. And our sources are telling us tonight that full mock debates are underway at the podium, under the lights. He's even watching tape to know exactly what he's going to see when he steps up to that lectern. His team shot a video during a walkthrough of the CNN studio. And as I reported while covering him at the White House, when Biden prepares, he does so incredibly intensively.
Oh, really, Caitlin? Incredibly intensively? Does that include poolside naps because he's got no idea what's happening? Let's hear what CNN is saying now that it doesn't really matter. And thanks to Maze Moore for this bit of gold.
So just how worried were Biden aides before the former president's disastrous debate last summer? According to Ron Klain, his chief of staff, his concerns could not be overstated. At his first meeting with Biden for debate prep, quote, Klain was startled. He'd never seen Biden so exhausted and so out of it. Biden was unaware of what was happening in his own campaign. Halfway through the session, the president excused himself and went off to sit by the pool. Part about the pool, he went off, this is in the middle of debate prep, went off to the pool and he took a nap.
And let's hear from Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, who claimed that Biden was as sharp as a tack. Now she thinks her lies about the president are some big joke.
Do you regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity? He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline.
Can you believe that? That interviewer, Sam Fragoso, did a fantastic job there. These people really are beneath contempt. Listen to Pocahontas here.
He was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough.
Now, after that dinner at the White House, lefty luminary Bill Maher is doing his best to redeem himself with the loony mob who are outraged that this ardent Trump hater would break bread with the president and then give an honest appraisal of what happened during that dinner. But as Maher said, he was not going to stop criticising the president or the VP, it seems.
We have a constitutional crisis. Today, Melania had a jacket that said, I'm starting to care. And not just Trump, J.D. Vance, our vice president, he's in Rome. You know, he's a convert, a recent convert to Catholicism. I know he's married to a Hindu, goes right to the Catholics. I don't know what that says. He converted to Catholicism because he heard priests like little pricks. So.
I'm not sure that's going to be enough to stop the hit pieces and the mockery from the likes of Larry David, who lampooned Maher with this piece in the New York Times entitled My Dinner with Adolf. In it, David wrote, here I was, prepared to meet Hitler, the one I'd seen and heard, the public Hitler, but this private Hitler was a completely different animal. Joining me now is Newsweek senior editor at...
All right. Well, that is Lefties losing it there. Rita killing it, as usual. We're going to be getting into the fun stuff. We're going to be opening today's door of the Advent calendar that was sent to us by Hair Juicer. And we got two funny videos of the day. First one's titled Trump and China on Tariffs and the song you sing after too much coffee. All of that's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about Lefties losing it. Zero, watch her try not to laugh. She has none to save. She's a worthless puppet and in it for the money. Yeah, all those people on Capitol Hill are like that. Russell, Pocahontas trying to save as much credibility as possible. Yep, trying to save face. 10 man fucking idiots. Yep. Stoner, dang, Bill Maher is Hitler? I guess. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means you're cool or what. They're just calling everybody Hitler now. What's up, MU? Happy freedom to you. Pumpkin, she's a loser and she hasn't shut up since she got to Ireland. I don't know why she thinks so many people care about her crying so damn hard. Meta, one word needs to be amended from people to citizen. Yeah. Vinny C, you cannot fix stupid. You can't. You can lead them to water, but you can't get them to drink it. Spirit Matter, happy freedom to you. Wayward, I can't say that out loud, but you're right. Sage Pup, it's amazing how detached from reality the left has gotten. Well, they hang out in echo chambers. And anybody who doesn't agree with them is a Nazi. So they pretty much got it made. Alright, hooligans, let's get into the fun stuff. Like I said, we're going to be opening today's door of the advent calendar that was sent to us by Hair Juicer, and we got 2 funny videos coming up. But first, I want to remind you, hooligans, if you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the links in the description in order to send donations. You could do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Zelle, Venmo, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. Like I said, we're going to open up today's door from the advent calendar that was sent to us by Hair Juicer. This is our survival calendar. I think we're on day 8, I think, right now. We'll see what we get. Yesterday, we got the flashlight. I already put it away, but I had to put a battery in it, and I did. Let me see. Pretty sure today is day 8. Up top here. Ooh. Gotta break into this thing. That's what they should have did, is they should give you tools and for every day afterwards it's harder and harder to open the box and you have to use the tools to actually open up the slots. That's an idea right there. What is this? Can I show this? Yes. Thought maybe it was a knife. It is not. It is a glass breaker and a pen. Look at that. This thing is fierce. The same for you. I see you looking at me. Yeah, I see you. It's hide. Very nice. Does it right? I suppose that doesn't matter while we're trying to survive, does it? What am I writing on? It does right. Fantastic. Ooh, and that is sharp. We'll have to test that at some point. We'll figure it out. Either way, thank you so much, Hair Juicer. I appreciate you. Let's go ahead and put this in the survival bag. Get a nice little collection going here. And then saying, damn, I remembered the batteries. I wasn't lying. Lion, tigers, and bears, oh my. Yes. Here's some plastic. That's for you. Don't eat it. I don't want to pull it out of your butt. We're going to go ahead and get into our funny videos. Let me get this pulled up real quick. This is titled Trump and China on Tariffs.
Gonna be about $6,500.
How about $50?
$50? You flying to Canada costs at least $3,000.
$55.
Hey, stop wasting my time of $55. No way I'd take my plane to Canada for less than $1,000.
Okay, $60.
$62.
Got it.
Never try to bother with a Chinese man.
Holy. All right, getting into our official funny video of the day. Let's get this pulled up. This is a hit right here. It's been stuck in my head the whole live. This is titled "The Song You Sing After Too Much Coffee."
I said a little bit.
Yes. All right, hooligans, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. I'm going to grab this Linktree link really quick. We're going to drop it in all of the chats. We'll be reading through. And then we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up. Stoner been there, man. Mm-hmm. Just a little bit. Shitted a little bit. Told you guys, it's a hit. All right, hooligans, there is the Linktree link where all of my links are listed. So if you'd like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7, and we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and links and all kinds of stuff right there while watching the live. You will also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our private social media area. You will also have access to the forums. You'll have access to the arcade. You will also have access to our advanced messaging system with the built-in group chats that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. JeffMacLive.com is the place to be and the home of the hooligans. So definitely go get yourself a membership. Like I said, we're going to read through and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up next. Russell Turtlehead poking out. It's too much. It's too much. Chase sprayed down 1 pair. That's right. Plastic crack. Shit a little bit. I'm telling you, it's been stuck in my head the whole live. Told to care, never trust a fart. Yep. They say relationships are like farts. If you have to force it, it's probably shit. You guys like that? That's good stuff. I've been carrying that with me a long time. Hey, thank you for being here, Too Old to Care. Appreciate you. Sage Pup, self-defense pen. Knock out your attacker, then draw a penis on their forehead. I love that. That's a winner. That's a winner. Hey, thank you, Meta. I appreciate you. Thank you, Spirit Matter. Plastic Quack, did you post that video? Hold on, let me see. I should start paying attention to this kind of stuff. Nah, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Life is like that sometimes. Cat Daniels, you sit your little furry booty down. They're gonna get him. If this cat is a domestic terrorist. I can't find it. Klaus Daniels, he's gonna turn my curtains down. That's what she said. Hey, thank you for being here, Zero. Oh, I see, Plastic Quack. Well, thank you so much for posting that video and for giving us the funny video of the day. The grocery store closed. I just realized that. Gas station food again. Oh well. Either way, it is that time once again. J-Spray. That's not what they mean when they say the turtle head is poking out. Like, come on, man. That's too much. I'm telling you guys, if you ain't got a membership for the website, you are missing out. Either way, let's do the thing. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, did the thing. Let's get these beats rolling. We're going to read through one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind. But we are wrapping this up. We'll be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Thanks for being here, Hair Juicer. Thank you, Tin Man. Thank you, J Spray. Zero gas station food again? Jeff's going to shit a little bit. Yeah. It's not good for my diet. I need to start getting food earlier. Appreciate you, Tin Man. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, MU. Toilet Carrots feasty time. It is. Thank you, Meta. Thank you, Tony Rich. Appreciate you, Cinderella. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you, Hooligans Island. Thank you, Mana. What's up, Bob? Happy freedom to you. So if you don't get out, you can write your will. Ah, that's why it's got a pen on the other side. That makes sense. Thank you, Pumpkin. All right, I think we're good to go. Like I said, we will be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you for hanging out with me as we cover the news. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Go find some good food. I'm going to do my best to do the same. But definitely come back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans. And I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.